And then later, after lunch, we will have a presentations. So we will end today, inshallah, by around 4:30. Because some would like to check out later, kan? Professor J, should I hand over this session to you? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Iza. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. What happened to our members, yeah? It's dwindling, it's getting smaller and smaller. Where are your colleagues? Yeah. Oh, from the hotel. Okay, A and B, where is group A and B? A and B will be working on, I will talk about this later, yeah, we'll be working on this. This soft template table ni. Leave it to you. Look at it based on your understanding. How can you improve on that? Or how you can recreate your own. Yeah? you don't have 1 week, yeah? You don't have 1 week. Yeah, this morning. But based on your understanding, you don't have to recreate 100%. Only these groups, yeah? These 2 groups only. Because this is part of training. And also teaching. You have something that you want to plan. You have prepared A, B, and C. But when you conduct it, when you teach, suddenly the students, you look at the students, look at the blank space. I have to change my teaching methodology. I have to change my topic to grasp their attention. That's what happened. So we have our own plan to do A, B, and C. But apparently yesterday, based on our discussion yesterday, you wanted to know more about this. How to implement this one. Okay, you have a question. Okay, can we hear
okay. Sorry, I don't understand, so maybe you can shed a light. Can I know why we need to, yeah.
You don't have to change. The idea is that, what is your understanding of it? You look at it, so make it clear, because you say that by looking at it, still there are some confusions. So how to make it clear to everybody, including yourself? Boleh? Clear enough? You don't have to come up with a new thing. How to make it more clear or clearer? Boleh, yeah? Boleh. So this is the 2 groups. A, B. C, D, where's group C, D? C and D, Alhamdulillah. I'm going to present something. Sorry. Your task, yeah? Group C and D, your task is to identify a course outline, one course outline, and to incorporate our Insan Sejahtera in there. I'll leave it to you. If you suddenly, voila, ideas come from somewhere, you want to come up with 7 elements, by all means. But suddenly you get stuck looking at 3 or 4 only. It's okay. There's no right and wrong in training. It's your ideas. Boleh, eh? I will give you an example. Both groups, yeah? C and D. I'll give you an example. Who is from the Kuliah of Engineering? Okay, I'll give you an example from the Kuliah of Engineering for you to look at. But it's not a perfect example, but just to have an idea what it is. Yeah? After this. And E and F. E and F. Irina, you have only 5 people. E and F. Cannot observe. E and F. Dr. Irina will explain to you about action research. Action research, what it is and how to go about doing it. And then both groups have to do the task assigned by Dr. Irina. Yeah? Can I proceed with my presentation for all of you? Okay, for all of you, but specifically for both groups in terms of course outline. Yeah? Okay, before we proceed, I just want to get the attention of everyone. Before we proceed, I just want to get attention everyone. Because once you start, then it's difficult to talk to all of you at one time. Remember yesterday I asked you, what's the purpose of you being here? And we agreed that, of course, ours is to produce holistics and balanced graduates, right? But don't forget, that's only one of the strategic focus areas. Have you heard of strategic focus areas before? Has it been communicated to your kuliah? Okay. This is like the roadmap. This is what our targets are in 2030, 2050, etc. Yeah? But now it's 2030. So in all the documents that we have at IUM, these are what you're supposed to achieve. I think it's about time for us to change our LCD. I cannot see even from here. I'm 45 years old and I cannot see it. Okay, we are talking about balanced graduates in yellow, the first one. That's done with yesterday. Don't forget about balanced staff. So if you want to produce balanced graduates, you have to, action speaks louder than words. Action speaks louder than words. You have to show you're a balanced staff. Jangan nak belajar, buat research, there's no activity, physical, etc., right? And then responsible research and innovation. Everybody knows about it. Meaning now research is about something that you can relate with the community, with the nation, with the world, with the ummah. Not only for the sake of, bila nak dapat profesor ni? Bila nak dapat profesor ni? Just, not for the sake of pure research only, but to help the community, the nation, the ummah, also the world, and also yourself. And then institutional stability. That's okay. That is talking about finance. Finance has to do that. Finance has to find money to generate income, not pushing you 100,000 a year research grant. 300,000. But why do you keep quiet? Why don't you argue? I'm sorry. No recording. No video recording. But it's good for you, for your promotion also. Okay, then we have societal well-being and values creation. In terms of society, we have been talking about ranking for so many years, right? World ranking. But what about our neighbors living around us? Do we know our neighbors? What do we do to help our neighbors? Not only campus community, but our neighbors. We boast ourselves the best in the world, etc. Bila orang datang tengok, alamak, kat depan tu apa tu? What do you see? Who's helping them? Right in front of our door. Okay. Then the global relevance. Of course, what's the name of our university? International. International staff, international students, international curriculum. How many just came back from overseas with a PhD? Within these 3 years. 3 years. Within these 3 or 5 years. 3 years. Where was that? Kyoto. Oh. I was the one who proved it, right? No, just joking. Anyway, but that's what we have. Global prominence. You graduated from Malaysian universities, American universities, British universities, Asian universities. That's international. Your knowledge, exposure, your experience is international. Not only Malaysia, So global prominence, and that's why we use Insan Sejahtera. One is only one circle is balanced graduates, but the rest don't forget. Okay? Okay. Now let's move on to the course outline, because everybody has been saying how to incorporate in the course outline, right? I hope I can do justice today. Hope. Okay. Who is from the Kuliah Engineering again? Okay, what's your name, please, Dr. Nur Fadila. Dr. Nur Fadila. From which program is it? Technology. Biotechnology. I'm waiting for the computer to scan. I think this banquet hall has to be upgraded. How come there's no signal? I'm presenting and still. Where's our technician? Encik Ahmad. Encik Ahmad. Encik Ahmad is not around. Encik Ahmad. Encik Ahmad. Asking for Encik Ahmad 1. Asking for Encik Ahmad 2. Asking for Encik Ahmad 3. Boleh tak? Doesn't come out. Different slides, yeah? We are talking about the course outline. So, what I'm going to do here today is to present my work, just a preliminary work with Prof. Amir. If you are from Kuliah Engineering, you know Prof. Amir. Prof. Amir is the director of RMC. RMC used to be oil. Now it's RMC. Replacing Prof. Ranawati. Oh, since? Yeah, I don't know either. Somebody told me this morning. Come on, guys, you are from IU. Things do not go to you, yeah? Ayo. Anyway, Prof. Amir is from engineering. He's the director of RMC. You should know. You want to apply for research grant. It's okay. I did a little bit of. Okay. I did a little bit of work with him in terms of Kuliah of Engineering to identify, assess their SDGs inventory module. SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. I chose one because for engineering, remember, for the Kuliah Engineering, they have the Washington Accord, international accreditation body, and also Malaysia. So they have to follow.
Basically, the Washington Accord gives directives to the EAC, the Board of Engineers Malaysia. So we have.
And not only Malaysia, but other countries in the world. So the quality is assessed and also maintained, given accreditation by Washington Accord and also Malaysia Board of Engineers. Yeah. So that's why they cannot do anything, but they have to follow. That's why they have to include SDG there. So, but KLM lain, yeah. KLM has a different mode for that. Okay, now it's hang. Okay, this is what I did. I look at all the programs. How many programs are there in the Kuliah Engineering? You can use your own understanding in terms of your own Kuliah. Yeah? There are 9 programs in the Kuliah Engineering. So as far as MEQ is concerned, you look at how many core courses, how many Kuliah course, how many core courses, Kuliah courses, Unicore, and etc. That's normal. Am I right? Hello? Oh, Kuliah, and then look at the percentage. I just want to see the percentage is about 57% are core courses, 18-20% are Kuliah courses, another 25% are university required courses. That is for the Bachelor of Engineering, Mechatronics. Mechatronics. I just gave that an example, yeah? So this is the programs, just like what you have also. And I did, it's very difficult to see, yeah? I did a spider web to see for each program, for overall Kuliah Engineering, how many SDGs are implemented, are integrated in their courses. See, you cannot see it. Even from here, I cannot see it. Dr. Iza, change the whole thing, yeah? Give 1 million to upgrade the whole thing. See, I cannot see it. How do you conduct? Anyway, I'll give you another slide so that you can see everything. But with the spider web, you know that, quote unquote, 100 and something are in SDG 5, focus on SDG 5. Let's say 70 focus, let's say 70 SDGs are on SDG 7, for example, yeah? There you are. Back to basic lah. We go for a spider web, we cannot see everything. So this is what we have. Top 8 SDGs in the Kuliah Engineering. How many programs do we have? 9. What's the top SDG? SDG 9. Industry, innovation, infrastructure. That is about 35.1%, meaning to say that 116 SDGs in engineering are for SDG 9. They tick. Not credit hours. Courses. Because how many programs? 9 programs. 9 times 4, if it is 40 courses, 330 about 330 courses at the bottom total. 9 programs, yeah? Because minimum is 120 credits, right? That is about 40 courses minimum. So out of 330 courses, they have covered 294 SDGs. What's the number one SDG? SDG 9 is about 116 or 35% of overall. So then you can show to the kuliah. You're talking about SDG lah, mapping. Yeah? Alright, let's move on. I want to focus on, later I will talk about SDG 4. Yeah? But remember, why industry, innovation, infrastructure, number 1. Number 2, SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities. SDG 12 is number 3, responsible consumption and production, because that's part of engineering. That's what they do. They are not talking about quality education. Quality education should go for the kuliah education. That's the highest. Right? But this
consumption, I'm not really sure whether they meant by the electronic consumption or the food consumption. Because in economics we have more to talk about the consumption.
Alhamdulillah, fine. But this is for them. Their understanding. Yeah? Alright, so let's move on. Example 1 program. Mechatronics program, yeah? This is what they do in terms of mapping. Can you see, starting from SDG, that's the new thing at the bottom. There must be mapping SDG. IR 4.0 elements, that is from the board. And then go to CLO. Because if you want to do the mapping, you have to start from a CLO, right? Course learning outcomes, individual course. Then you move to the program learning outcomes. That is the MQF 2.0. MQF 2.0. You must understand that. If not, you will not get accreditation. And then program educational objectives. That's from the university, from KCA. And finally, look at the kuliah vision and mission. They will discuss about that. So the mapping is PO, PLO, CLO, and SDG. I just want to show that. Take one example from the mechatronics engineering program. If you look at it, these are all the courses. Yeah. If you look at it, SDG 9 and 11, there are, for all courses, SDG 9 is for all courses. What is SDG 9? Industry, innovation, and infrastructure. For all courses. Whether you're talking about, there are so many courses. And then we have SDG 11, about 1, 2, 3 courses, not 3 courses. Basically, not 3 courses, but 3 areas focus on sustainable cities and communities. And I don't blame them because it's engineering. Yeah, Irina, correct me I'm wrong. Dr. Irina is the expert in engineering. Okay, I take an example of one course. One course. What's the title of the course? MCTA 4363, Deep Learning. What is deep learning, yeah? Connected to data science. Yeah. Data analytics. Sort of. And that's the course synopsis. I highlighted the yellow one because you look at the, later we look at the course learning outcomes. Look at the yellow one. Relate it to the cognitive domain of Bloom's taxonomy. Introduction, knowledge, right? Fundamentals, knowledge and understanding also. Applying deep learning. Applying its application, amal. Next one is deep learning application in yellow. Application also. And then you are talking about Where's evaluation? And also application of deep learning and, oh, something is missing here. So, okay, application of deep learning and mechatronics engineering. So these are all not only knowledge and understanding of MQF 2.0, the first area. All of you need to understand MQF 2.0. You have to study this before that. Or if you know, alhamdulillah. And then when you talk about applying, application, that is cognitive skills. Application and above, yeah? So they have both. Let's look at their CLO. Oh, tak boleh nampak ah. I'll do that. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 CLOs. The first one is explaining. Explaining is understanding, yeah? C2. Then you talk about the next one, identifying, C1. Just identify this, this and that. And the next one is applying, CLO3, applying. This is C3. But under applying, there's also evaluate this performance, evaluation. Can you see CLO 1, 2, 3, CLO3, that is applying and also evaluation. So not only applying, but evaluating. So that is C5. And then the next one, the last one is use, that is C3, application. Designing. Designing is the highest level, that is innovation. You need to design something. Can you copy? You need to have something that is original. So based on all C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, then you design something. Knowledge, understanding, application, analysis, evaluation, then you design something, innovate something. So they have it. I'm yet to go to that. Just wait a minute. Yeah. Hold your horses. I know you have 16 horses under the hood. 5 PESD, Dr. Irina. 5 pillars of 5 pillars of ESD. This is an example. You can come up with your own. You can choose and pick. I just want to show you how it is. Can be done one way. There are many ways of doing it. This is not a course outline, but to translate that into the Insan Sejahtera. This is not a course outline, but to have the understanding what it is. What KCA gives you, I'm not sure. Okay, let's look at the first one. Explain the concepts of learning models, blah, blah, blah. If you look at 5 pillars of learning, that is to know. Right? You cannot just stick 5 pillars of ESD, because what is it? Is it to know, to apply? Or what is it? To do? You don't know. So for 5 pillars of ESD is to know, because the action verb there is explained. If you look at Bloom's taxonomy, what is it? To explain is understanding, C2. Right? The next one, number 3, if you talk about MQF 2.0, still knowledge and understanding. The first area, MQF 2.0. If you look at Al-Ghazali, it's still ilmu. Knowledge and understanding. That is intellect. But Al-Ghazali is ilm. Dia tak ada lagi apply, tak ada amal lagi kan? CLO1 is not amal, still ilmu. If you look at CLO2, identify, the same thing. If you look at 5 pillars of education, is to know. Not to do, but to know, because it's identification and this and that. The same thing goes to Bloom's taxonomy, it's knowledge. It's the lowest level, knowledge. And you move on to MQF 2.0, is knowledge and understanding, the first area. And finally, if you talk about Al-Ghazali, it's still intellect, there is ilm, knowledge. But then let's move on to the next one, the next CLO, apply deep learning algorithm, application. To me, at this level, whether certificate, diploma, undergraduate or postgraduate, do you want them to know or to apply their knowledge? To know. You don't want them to apply. What does Al-Ghazali say about amal and ilmu? Amal and ilm.
To know first and then to apply.
Ilmu bila amal is pokok tak ada buah. Pokok apa? Durian apa tu? Durian king. Bahaya tu. Ilmu tanpa amal is wastefulness. It's a waste because you ada ilmu tapi tak nak amal, tak nak share, tak nak convey to people, tak nak help people. Amal tanpa ilmu? Amal tanpa ilmu? Okay. Can you build my house? Tak ada ilmu ni. Nak buat rumah. What happened? Huh? It's foolish. It's crazy, right? Macam kita nak buat garden lah semua kat the whole university. Tanam pokok tu, pokok ada ilmu tak? Itu pokok tu mati. So ilmu first kan, Dr. Nur? Ilmu first. Ilmu tanpa amal, waste. It's a waste, wastefulness. Amal tanpa ilmu is crazy. You can commit suicide. You can kill yourself. Okay, so that's another story. So look at Al-Ghazali, CLO3 application. When you talk about Al-Ghazali is non-intellect, is amal. Sorry, you have to correct me. It's not intellect, it's amal. It's application. Al-Ghazali, right? So the last one, use modern software. So you use it to design. Kalau if we talk about ESD, dah to do dah tu. You apply it. To know, to do, learning to know, learning to do. And kalau if we talk about Bloom's taxonomy, is bukan saja apply, bukan ada analysis, bukan evaluate, but create. Because you dah ada designing tu. It's the highest level for Bloom's taxonomy. Can you create something without the knowledge of it? Analyzing it, evaluating it. Last kali pun you create something, yeah? Not easy. And then you talk about Bloom's taxonomy, it's the same thing. Cognitive skills, that is the highest level of creating under cognitive skills, area number 2. And then for Al-Ghazali, still you're talking about amal. Sorry, not intellect, yeah? I made a mistake. Correct me, I made a mistake there. So it's amal. But Al-Ghazali amal encompassing everything. But for Bloom's, are the levels of amal, application there. From application, analysis, evaluation, all the way to creating. Just an example. And then look at SDG. What SDG is it for number 1? For CLO1, goal number 9. CL2, goal number 9 and 11. CLO3, goal 9 and 11. 9 11 also, CLO4. So this is an example. You can follow this one, or you can come up with your own. Okay. Yes.
On slides where you look, when you show us the arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way you mentioned it, it was kind of like bottom up, like from the first outline. Yeah, and then it will influence and then it's the way you see it now. I don't know, the way that we're doing it now, it's kind of like top down.
First and foremost, at the end of the course, what do you expect the students to be able to do? First and foremost. First and foremost is MQA. You don't follow MQA, you don't get accreditation. Then you add on the makasid, you add on with the pillars of education, SDG, Islamization. MQF 2.0 is compulsory first. If not, you will not get accreditation from the board and also from Washington Accord. There goes your course. Then you add on, because those are peculiar to IIM. Only to IIM kita buat, yeah? Over and above. Can you see the difference there?
So basically the way I see I'm trying to kind of like very obsessed with arrows. Like, if it goes here, meaning it goes here. So basically the course CLO would be in the Can we go back to the slide, Prof? I'm kind of like. The one where you have the CLOs, the PEO, the PLO, kind of confused.
Scroll back, yeah. Scroll back. No, this one. Scroll back. Okay. Which one?
The one that with the arrows, with the SDG, and then this one.
Yeah.
I'm kind of confused with the arrow. Because here it shows that how this I know a sustainable development is with the IR 4.0, somehow they are interrelated. Yeah, they have a conversation, and then when you go up, That meaning that it will affect course learning outcomes. And then course learning outcomes will be affecting the PLO, and then the PEO, and then Kuliah Vision and Mission, and University Vision and Mission. So you can see that, yeah, but at the moment what we are doing now is kind of like the other way.
Okay. Actually, there's the error. I agree with you. But the idea is that, number one, you will start with the PEO. The university level first. When the students graduate, 1 minute, yeah?
It's okay, Prof. I just want to help.
Okay.
Sorry. Assalamualaikum. If I may, I know the arrow might looks like that, but because 2 days ago actually I was invited by Astronomah University to give a talk on OBE. On outcome-based education and CQI. So actually, from our experience, yes, first we look at the vision and mission of the university, which actually trickles down to the vision and mission of the faculty. Okay, so that has to be in sync. And then from the vision and mission of the faculty, it goes to your, it has to be in sync with the program educational outcomes. Yeah, align. The program educational outcomes should be set up by your faculty. I mean, we all know this. Okay. And then that thing has to be aligned with the program learning outcomes. The program learning outcomes for us engineering, we have to follow the Washington Accord. So we have at the moment 12. Yes, and that one we actually met. Okay, and then from there, the program learning outcome has to be trickles down to the course learning outcome. So you have to make sure, like your course learning outcome actually satisfy or actually align, in sync, whatever verb you want to use, but it has to match. Okay, and then on the course learning outcome is the thing that you actually, like the spider web, you satisfy the SDG, you satisfy the IR 4.0, self-element and all that. Okay, I hope, sorry Prof, thank you.
You are from engineering. The idea is that we have not looked at the mapping of CLO and PLO and PO. That's another seminar, workshop altogether. That's another issue. So we are just looking at it in the big picture. So it has to start from vision and mission, blah, 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 and then you have the PO. PO is that for all students, when they graduate, what are the attributes? For all students, not only engineering, not only KLM, for all students, what are the attributes that you want? 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe against PLO. PLO is the MKF 2.0 and also the Washington Accord and also for them, yeah? And then trickle it down to CLO. So everything must be aligned. So that's why you want to say that for, let's say, PLO1, what's the percentage in the Kuliah Engineering is focusing on knowledge and understanding only. Let's say if you say 90% of the courses in the Kuliah Engineering focus on knowledge and engineering, well, what happened to application? So this is how we do the mapping and the percentage to show to the auditors. If I come in, I say, why is 90% focusing on knowledge and understanding? Where's application?
Oh. In that case, the academic framework that we are talking, it has to come under PEO, right? Why we have to? I mean, if it comes with PEO, then we don't have to talk about SDG.
Do you have your PEOs? Do you know your PEOs?
Yeah, why you don't redo that?
Do we have anybody from KCA to respond to that? I don't want to.
Okay.
I hope you understand. I will bring that issue to the other group. All right. Thank you very much for the question. Anything else? Yes.
I don't know whether this question is, but anyways, I'm just wondering, why are the arrows pointing up to university vision and mission? Does that mean that sustainable development goals and following after that would, somehow influence the university mission and mission? To me, my understanding, the arrow should be the other way around.
Yeah, no, that's okay. The arrow can be moved around. If I made a mistake in the arrow, it's okay. I'll correct that. But the idea is that it has to start from vision and mission. Yeah? Will that answer your question? Thank you very much. Okay. Are we done? You don't want to do your work, yeah? You keep on asking questions.
That's my question. On the example of the course just now, the 4 CLO designing, what I understand is that for the pillars of education, designing should be in to be, not to do.
Yeah, to be. Yeah, can be to be, no problem. You because you to do is you apply the whole thing. To be one before you design, you have to know. You have to be part of you. You have to internalize the whole thing. You have to internalize the concept, the algorithm, blah blah blah, for you to design. I have no problem with that. If you want to put under to be, by all means. Okay, you discuss it among yourself. But to me, is when MQA comes in, is your justification. This is your justification, right? All right. That again, no more, yeah? After this slide. Okay, thank you very much. So that is, I expect that from group C and D to work on this, yeah? To identify one course outline, and integrate all the elements. And I'm going to invite Dr. Irina. For question from yes, question.
Assalamualaikum. So my question is, for today's task, we have to map the course learning outcome, right? One course, CLO, against all these concepts that we have learned since yesterday. So nothing much on the program educational objectives and whatnot, is it? Because that one is, I mean, atas lagi daripada CL. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Exactly. It would take a longer time, so that's why I am a bit confused. All right. Cool. Thanks, Prof.
So next one is. Okay, this next one group, that is last one is actual research, yeah? Dr. Irina will explain to EF, yeah, group EF on actual research.
Dr. Iza, do you mind to upload the slide, the latest slide?
That is mine.
Itulah.
Dia mana ada condition?
Dr. Iza, Alhana, mana dia? Tak tahu di mana. Dekat WhatsApp.
Katanya.
Kejap. So yang ni cuma I think better Prof. Using only one course outline, on how they can embed this action research ESD pedagogical approach. Okay. Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera. This is for groups EF. So while waiting the slides being uploaded, so our focus is the slide is actually extract from my slide yesterday, but it's shorter than the whole slide yesterday. But the task is actually trying to choose one course outline, only one from any of you in this group. Then try to embed this action ESD pedagogical approach in this course outline. So I will give you the briefly. Actually, yesterday is already there, but just to highlight again on how you can do it. Exactly. Perhaps in your teaching activities, which is actually this is part of the teaching learning, but then ni orang kata kill one bird in three birds in one stone, right? So I know that we are already have the same burden load, So why we need to work smart is in order, we need to teach the students. This is part of our teaching learning, but at the same time, we need to fulfill our research as well. But what kind of research? So at the same time, we also need to have this kind of community engagement, the impact to the community. So this is actually to show you what kind of data, what kind of research approach that can help us in these three functions: teaching, learning, research, and community engagement. That's the point. Whether undergraduate or postgraduate is up to you. But knowing that most of the course outline, whether you want to use your master course outline or undergrad, is up to you. It's okay, still waiting there. Sorry? It's up to you. That is why if you have one of the course outline as an example, so first of all you can map what are the SDG that you are trying to address from the objective, from the one that engineering done before this, and then after that you can identify what kind of the teaching activity, which is perhaps 30% is involving the data collection, and then at the same time perhaps the service learning activity, the one that I showed you is several examples, what kind of transdisciplinary research that is actually part of the action research. And if you want to be part of the family of RCE Greater Gombak, you are actually welcome. So you can use also the same the frameworks by engaging the schools, children surroundings, this Greater Gombak area. Kuantan also involved, Pago also involved. So you can involve the schools, the community, the local authority, the stakeholder. This is part of the transdisciplinary. So the quintuple helix, the triple helix, quadruple helix is how you actually help you to identify who are your actors beyond the academics. Okey tak? Ke masih blur lagi? Sorry? Also possible. Also possible. Exactly. By involving the community, by involving the local authority or any actor at the city, let's say clinics ke, kedai runcit ke, security, or those who are beyond the, because, and if possible during the issue identification, co-identification of the issue is not comes from us. So it's through the borak-borak ke, that is the style that is lead us on how we can get the issues. It just comes from them, and then how we address it. Ada ya Hana ya? Hana, can you move to the first slide? Second slide ya? Yeah. Do you have this slide actually? Sorry. Cannot eh? Hana, do you have a WhatsApp group for the today's? The video, yeah. But I'm not sure whether maybe some of it is already a new one. Ke masuk dalam pen drive ya? But a bit tricky ya. Takut sebab this slide is blur, right? So afraid if you can use it easy.
Just tanya je lah, tapi kalau you kata you ambil
The last one eh. Thank you. Tak tahu dia tahu tak dapat access iPad link. So do you mind to download this?
yang ni actually extract from my slide tu, tapi mungkin dari additional cover dan dia kena asingkan between yang research dengan yang teaching learning. So yang ni I extract research. So I letak je lah satu ni file baru ni bagi kat mereka. Satu je yang mine punya masuk dalam dia. Oh, doktor punya slide.
Tadi dalam WhatsApp ni. Yang ni. Masuk dalam dia. Yang action research kan?
Pagi ni.
Ya.
Nak share slide dia.
Ya, ni I dah download dekat one of your friends itu. Boleh juga kalau nak. Sekejap ya. Satu lagi. Sebab slide apa? Monitor ni blur. So I takut sebetul yang tengok dekat you punya.
Tak pernah nampak.
Tak berapa nampak.
So kalau nak play video tu boleh, tapi nanti takut nak kena scroll.
Itulah. Only your friend. Senang sebab benda ni kan blur. So I think you can find or share among all of you. It's actually action from the video. Maybe a bit so easier lah. Kalau itu mungkin banyak kan.
We hope to open the video like this.
Boleh buka lah. They're still searching. Yeah. Yeah, sure. How is it? Why? Yeah, it's okay, but you can teach share with them how is the way on embed this ESD action research pedagogical. Yeah. No, but you can give an example your course to the other lecturer also, right? Can. Yeah, perhaps in your specific program you already perhaps you have the list of government. Okay.
Then the topic is that integrated community. So if we, how to embed it in the clinical years, because it's not theory kan, not very community yet, then we'll go into that for future. So if you're looking at the course outline of the first and second year's lecturer, you don't find all this. That's why it's got to include action research, right? Maybe too early to include because they will have it later in year 3, 4, 5. So if you want to include,
I can use the. But in the if they say there any chance? But actually, this is somehow you can like having a conversation, discussion. You can invite the doctors from the clinics, let's say, for the webinar, and then share with them how is their experience in, let's say, combating the COVID or whatsoever, or the orang kampung or whatever. But need to have this kind of webinar perhaps, and then that time is part of the student itself collect the data, for example, at the same time. But of course, need to support by the other sources of data lah. How to contextualize the issues at the local level, that one is also part of the exercise. Maybe you can have the information from the newspaper in order on how to get to know the issue at the local level, and then you can identify from the government medical officer, for example. Yeah, but involving other than your yeah. Yeah. Identify the problems, and then maybe you need to, let's say, engage the medical practitioner or the supplier medicine or whatever the things that beyond the academics. Yeah. Or the nurse or whatever that who are involved practically. So they are actually the source for tacit knowledge. That is the first learning to know that we would like to promote on transdisciplinary. Yeah, possible. Yeah, it's easier. Yeah. Yeah, but that one is typical, the questionnaire, standard one. Yeah. If possible, like after that, you get the data, you analyze, and then you got the intervention, for example, and then you monitor the changes throughout the time, for example. That is also part of the, and then, action. Yeah, research. And then if you need to collect the other source of data that can contribute, support your, justify, strengthen your finding, that is also part of the action research. So it doesn't mean only the qualitative approach, but mixed method, qualitative and quantitative, is also welcome. Yeah, you can study kadang-kadang dalam teaching Socratic Method, just have studied service learning.
Meaning it's like a site visit company, for example.
Yeah. But if you can interview them by kemudian the knowledge from the local you having the scientific knowledge about it, but then in order to contextualize the issue at the local level in their case, you need to have this local knowledge from them. Let's say level 3, tapi we need to identify with the local, what is the source of the pollution. Yang kita tahu memang kat sana ada kilang, tapi bila dia tanya bukan kilang aja sebenarnya, kat sini ada banyak lagi sumber. That kind of test analysis, that what we want from them, and that interaction. If allow me again to show this co-op learning cycle. This is also part of this adult learning. We know that our student is not a child, and then this is how we are also in the process cycle, one cycle loop of the process, that you are also the doers, the student also the doers, and then when you go to the site, you observe, you take the data, communicate with them, then you go back to the class, and then that reflection process, you already enter the second stage of this co-op learning cycle. That reflection is also part of this learning. you are also as a lecturer and also the students. And then coming to the third stage, as a thinkers, we are trying to relate with the existing concepts, the abstract conceptualization. It might be changes from the scientific knowledge that you have, the tacit knowledge that you collect from the site visit. When it comes to the thinkers, the third cycle, you already have this abstract conceptualization, and then that's perhaps come up with the new knowledge. That is what we call it co-creation of new knowledge. Co-creation of new knowledge, yeah. Perhaps first knowledge is this area is level 3 of river pollution. But when it comes to this visit and you relate with your knowledge as well, perhaps you will come up with, this is the third level of river pollution, but it's not only because of the manufacturer effluent from oil palm manufacturing, for example, but there are also discharge due to the sanitation or sewerage is not really good, discharge from others, and then the people there is already suffer for long times. So this is becomes a story, a narrative, and then that is complete. Actually, come up with new knowledge that you gain from this process. And then when it comes from the last COP learning cycle on decoders, active experimentation is the learner applies their ideas to the world around them, meaning that then you discuss with your students having your own knowledge on the, let's say, certain disease anticipation due to this river pollution. Then you come up with, I think we need to come up with this kind of intervention. So this comes from your knowledge, and then in order to to come up with this. Yeah, right.
They will have their own funny project.
Yeah,
but that project is actually based on titles that's proposed by the lecturers.
Right.
So some of them, of course, I think it will be in line with our research experience outside the academic world. But what if the lecture titles are also their own areas of research, but the students are doing it on behalf? So that's part of the investigation.
You are also, at your level, also you are performing the cultural issues by having discussion by others, but this also consider the academic. Because this is not for the sake of like fundamental, this is more on the applied one.
Like by identifying problems through free journal, it's also part of it.
It is journal, but then in order to apply these things, you need to have this contextualization by having the local context. It's not only by the community, perhaps you read through the newspaper and then how to contextualize these issues. Yeah, it's also part of the life.
Correct. Take the kampung, for example.
Right.
So we discussed that people kampung, the representative of that
Right.
area, and then also we also involve staff, the structure there.
That is data collection already.
We do the creativity.
Yeah.
After that we come up with the problem list.
Right.
And then we come up with the community survey.
Yeah.
After that we come up with the intervention whereby we do the staff promotion, whereby we invite all the teenagers there.
Right.
What is our content?
Yeah.
That we are implementing their topic.
Yeah.
That's considered like action.
Yeah. If you cannot, you need to start to identify what kind of knowledge that you get from the people. Then whether you have, it's better if you have this table on the particular of learning. So this is how you will using the new perspective of ESD as the tool that helps you to come up with. So we are actually part of the transformation that you are actually being done through your
Also, of course, this is why having this kind of qualitative approach, site observation, interview as collecting the picture, that is also part already the qualitative part, right? So this is actually part of the action research. Yeah, I think we are actually doing this already. It's just like we rebranding we use this kind of term. Yeah. And then because we need to, again, how you are being relevant in the SDGs, again, and how you relate with the local and the global. This is why we local and how to localize this kind of, the 17 goals, it seems like it's there, but we don't know how to reach there, but you are actually part of it. It's just like we help you to connect with this framework.
I don't understand the picture of the
Yeah,
overall
already
picture.
get, yeah?
But when thinking about how to fit it into the course outline, I think it's a rather subjective approach rather than
Yeah.
so it's like
On the teaching activity.
yeah, for fitting it to one, it's like we cannot fit one mechanism to all course outlines.
Sure.
Doesn't mean that because we have to put it in the course outline, right?
Yeah.
Putting in the course outline will be more like a reflection paragraph kind of thing. Or
Correct. Perhaps during the teaching and learning activity also, like the engagement question, we throw them, and then how the students reflect and how the student respond. This is actually part of the learning, and then you can observe during the one semester. They are the reflectors, they are the doers, and sometimes kind of yeah. This is actually these are different thinking on how you collect the data at the same time. Yeah, and then I think there are a lot of examples of Hannah. Alhana, can you move to the next slide, please? Next. Yeah, okay. This is also trying to help you to identify why you are also under the priority action areas. You can also contribute in a way, like say for the advancing policy, through your action research, you can come up with this countries, because every country has to report on SDG, right? So you can identify in which SDG goals you can contribute, and then which relevant ministry, like say Ministry of Health or KPKT or local authority that under them is these issues belong to. So you can give them an advice and then also share with them this is our funding, and this is also part of the action research, and you are part of this advancing policy of the priority actions. And then if you have a chance to see the indicators targets, each targets under goals has the indicators. There is a report details on the Malaysia performance on SDGs at the Department of Statistics. The detail that is in how you strategize your research or teaching at the same time. So you can identify what are the specific indicators that can be part of your data collection in your research and teaching or learning. This is also another way to kill many birds in one stone. Yeah. Right. Is I right? Yeah. Yes, can. Yeah, possible. Yeah. Yeah, you can use the first COP learning cycle as the one cycle finish. Let's say the first batch for the first student in first semester, for example, and if that courses offer in the next semester, so you can use the second batch as a second cycle. Yeah, so you can compare, for example, and then you can of course change a bit the one that we are also learning from them, right, at the same time. So we can also see the result. Oh, we need to change this kind of things, for example. Yeah, so this is also part of a bigger COP learning cycle. You are also as doers, reflectors, and also thinkers, and etc. Yeah. Yeah. But then I think by using the cold learning cycle is actually the smart way to doing it, because we are also, as a lecturer, we are also know how to do it, how to reflect. This is also part of the exercise. Otherwise, if you don't have this cycle, you will not fulfill the transdisciplinary approach punya criteria. Yeah. Possible. Also possible. It can be the student, it can be you also. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's good actually for your data actually, and then you can see the changes throughout times. Yeah. Hannah, next please. Next slide please. Yeah, this is just to show that is why currently the UNESCO have this UNESCO for 2030 by having the ESD goals, SDG number 4 in the loop. This is to show that how is SDG actually a toolkit to accelerate, to facilitate the other SDG goals implementation. Yeah, this is to show that how versatile is SDG itself by touching different issues structured in the 17 goals. Yeah. Next slide, please, Hannah. Yeah, this is also another way if you don't have time to go out and then you are have limited capacity, students number size is just small, so you can use also the campus as a living lab for you to collect the data. Yeah, again, by identifying the source of data is not only the academia, so you can link with other community within the university, let's say like the clinics, for example. It can be also your part of your data collection in transdisciplinary research. Yeah, and then the community, the students in the Mahala is also part of the community. You are the researcher, and the implementator is other part of the community inside the universities itself. Yeah. Next, Hannah. Back. Next. Okay, yeah, this is, I think, already knows about the range of SDG that possible to be part of your transdisciplinary action research. Next. And yeah, the SDG core, SD core competency that need to be also bear in your mind during the identification of the teaching learning activities. Next. Yeah, this is just to help you to identify again we are towards the transdisciplinary. Next. Yeah, this is also example of the learning in transdisciplinary mode by having several activities below. That is also part of your data collection in the qualitative approach. Next. Yeah. Transdisciplinary, yeah. Before this, sorry. Yeah, this is also the competency that you can consider during the construct the course outline or teaching activity. Yeah. If you look at on the basic academic competency, that is normally is part of the Bloom taxonomy whatsoever. Sorry? Too much. Very, yeah. You just go to the first stage, the transdisciplinary. Next year. I think this one is very, very basic. Like you can apply in your activity that related to the other actor beyond the university. Yeah. Actor, local authority, community, and then you can Tak juga. Ha. Dia action research tak semestinya transdisciplinary. It can be, yeah. If possible, like if you are applying it, that is already action research, and you are part of the process. Yeah. For this one, your task. No, you identify in your course, choose one course, teaching courses that possible to adopt this action research in the teaching activity, or aligning it. No, the student also involved. Yeah. They can be the data collector, then they are also part of the learning process, they are also the doer, and then once you have this intervention, and then you look at on the application, and then you see how is the implementation, and then perhaps you need to take the data collection, the second one, perhaps just only take a picture. There is a difference before and after the intervention and before the intervention. That is also considered as action research. Yeah. It can be applied in USRA in action. If you have UIA, that can be very, very helpful for you. Yeah. USRA in action, there is also core university subject, unicore subject, name is UIA, that is really, really on community base. So this is actually the basis for that. Yeah. So I know that we are the same, having the same workloads. We carry the research, the publication. That is why we need to work smart actually. Yeah. Next slide, Hannah, please. Next slide, you know already about the Bloom. This is just an example on how the mapping in the UNGS Unicode subject, on how we embed this ESD target 4.7. The 5 pillar. If you look at on the fifth component, learning to become, and you look at on the Bloom taxonomy on how we identify, this is actually help you to create what kind of the learning activity that can help you to collect the data, doing the transdisciplinary and action research. Yeah. Next. Exactly. There is changes in the learner and then the society as well. Yeah. Yeah. Possible. Yang possible, yeah. But actually, you can also creatively, innovatively embed. It's not only on the 5th pillar. You can also embed the other pillar also as part of the teaching learning activity in the student in the class. And then respond from them is actually, you can collect them as a data, and then part of your teaching learning also, oh, this student having changes throughout time, before the learning, before the exercise, or at the beginning, and then you observe their changes after the class, also after finish at the end. So this is also part of you are using them as a learning research subjects, yeah, quote unquote. Yeah. Right. Right. Exactly. Good. Yeah, exactly. But make sure that the student interview the industry player, so you get the knowledge, tacit knowledge from them. So this is really, really part of the action in the bigger action research that in the bigger perspective. So you can collect the data at the end, right? So don't need to go for the bombastic research or whatsoever, but you are actually can be smartly can collect the data from the student being part of this your research. But you need to spell out in the course outline what are the teaching activity assessment that can at the same time collect the data for you. Yeah. Hopefully it answer your questions. Yeah. Yeah. On the next slide, please. Okay. Boleh tengok. Okay, next. Yeah, this is also another example on how is various ESD pedagogical approach, which is at the same time function as action research. You can collect the data from this kind of methods, right? During learning of internship, the student will write, the narrative, the report. Then you can actually extract the data. Actually, this is the tacit knowledge. That is how they experience from the internship. Yeah. And then solving the real community problem, of course, when they go to the site, to the specific area to solve the problems, and then that process also can capture as part of their action-oriented methods. Yeah, and of course, the outdoor education, you bring them to go to the site visit, get their first impression, and then let them experience it. That what we call it experience learning. Throughout the time after site visit, then you want to make sure how is the changes. You want to detect how is the changes, so you can have the post survey or whatever dengan your students, and then identify, oh, there is a changes during the site visits. Yeah, this is also part. The student is served as an actor. Yeah, before and after. Yeah, perhaps it's just simple changes. We don't expect them to be good, right? It's just like for the specific task that you want, so you need to observe what kind of the changes that you want. And then of course you can Yeah. Exactly. Reflection. Yeah. You can also aim for that at the same time, because we want the learner in ESD, everybody is learner, and then you want the learner change themselves and the society. And in our UNGS courses, for example, after we give them 4 classes, and then we ask them to do the reflection on the 4 classes that we give, the knowledge that we give, the scientific knowledge, and then they are reflects in their life, maybe at homes or with the community, and on how they use our scientific knowledge, the knowledge that we give, using this lens on how they reflect through their experience actually. So this is also part of their learning process. Exactly. Principle, concept, that is the scientific knowledge. But when it comes to the reflection, they are internalizing. It's actually part of the changes, transformations at the first stage. Yeah. Yeah. It's also possible. It's very fluid. It's up to you. You are the lecturer. There are many methods. Yeah.
For example, in my class, I will post a mini project.
Yeah.
After 7 weeks of lecture, then I give them an assignment.
Right. Right.
Discuss how to optimize the program. That is not the part of the
that one is the subject itself, but the student also you need to observe as well. Yeah, so combining the data improve the efficiency of the certain optimization of process, for example, is also coupled with the students' changes of attitude, for example. Yeah. At the same time, so you can couple this. This is not only, it's not rigid only for the, we are in the science, normally we very much on the subject itself, right? We are detached. We are ourselves is not part of the object, of the subject. But we are detached. But in this process, because ESD is about changes yourself and the society, so you are part of it. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So it's become part of your experience learning actually. The students learning. Yeah. Uh-huh. Sorry, repeat again. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you want to look at the changes only for the student, it's also fine. Yeah. Yeah, the best if, because in transdisciplinary sustainability is actually combination of the mixed method, qualitative and quantitative data, rich information, and also about the local contextualization. So it becomes, it's a whole story punya narrative. Correct. Yeah.
But the qualitative doesn't apply to all the.
No, you can include the quantitative as well. Like say the survey, then you analyze using the SPSS, and then you can get the figure. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But I feel like the participation has to identify the
learner. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the action. Yeah. Observation again. Yeah. I agree that it's not all type of research or issues can be transdisciplinary. Yeah, it's not all the research issues. Yeah. So just try your best, if possible, to find the. Yeah. Yeah.
Currently I have one.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. For the students, at the students level. Yeah. It's not all the. Yeah.
What about the treatment time?
Yeah. In the activity, teaching activity assessment. Yeah. How is it? Is it possible? The students. Oh no, not. Yeah, not all the, because sometimes the courses is only at the fundamental level, so it's difficult to trying to applying it. But if possible, only for, let's say, as part of the teaching activity in the class, perhaps it's possible. Yeah, that is why we come up with this kind of interactive participative methods like Socratic Method, you are asking the questions. This is also part of the learning process. But this is actually part of the action-oriented research. I know that this is fundamental, but when it comes, you are trying to relate, you are asking a question to the student by using the Socratic Method. You are actually, is the student itself is part of this co-op learning cycle. They are having this process. So they are also learning, trying to internalizing what are the knowledge that they got as a fundamental knowledge, research, or science, yeah, and then they're trying to internalize it, and the link, if you are ask them how to apply this kind of fundamental knowledge or research in your daily life, for example, it's just like advancing it, and then part of the learning activity for the students as well. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. You can use it for the invent. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, exactly. There's a problem. Okay. Yeah, you have already. For the students. Yeah. So perhaps this is action research. It's not transdisciplinary, but this is part of this action research. Yeah.
In the course outline itself. The course outline is about research project. This is the detailed project.
Yeah, but you can name it. What are the name of this assessment or the teaching activity? Case study, perhaps? Case study. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I teach the same things actually. Yeah. Me too. Yeah. So you just share this one, and then their research, they have their own research, right? They have final year project, right? The students, right? So if you want them to be the action research, they need to be part of this. Like, for example, I see if you want to, in the class activity, you have Socratic Method, and you collect what are their response. That is the data already for you. And then it becomes part of this action research, actually. And if you can, like, for example, you create questions, but at the same time, you know that every student has different research final year project. If you come up with this one question, for example, and then you can see how is their level understanding, let's say, how is your research from specific SDG goals can contribute to your current question. This is also part of higher order learning thinking skills for them as well, right? This is a part of the Socratic Method as well. But once you record their answer, you collect all the data, so this you are analyzing it, and then this is part of this co-op learning cycle, whether they are, and then you can record or come up with the other method as well to evaluate them. And then, for example, exactly, like you have a group. Yeah, if you have group discussion, you create groups, and then you are trying to, let's say you want them to be more critical or have critical thinking, for example. Then you create the groups, then you throw one issues, and then look at on how they interact. This is also part of this participatory action research. Yeah. Because we are teaching various research method. Research method during the courses, right? So we want them also to apply. For example, let's say we are introducing about this group discussion or identification of problem-based learning. For example, problem-based learning is a very good example as well. I use it for the UNGS because the students come up from different faculty. So I try come up with one issues and then gather them in one groups from various faculty. So they are come up with different response from different background of disciplines. Yeah, this is also part of the interesting exercise actually for me to capture the process, learning process. Final year project, if you can come up with using the Socratic method. Every student have different topic on FYP, but if you want them to, let's say, use them as a mapper on which SDG goals you are your FYP, so maybe you can ask them identifying what are SDGs and then the targets, for example, and then how to solve that SDG goals based on their FYP. This is also interesting. Yeah. This is also part of your, can be the exercise in your one semester, right? Yeah. So you can add in, or but you are no, otherwise exactly, no, otherwise it's just in the teaching assessment or activity you can include, for example, a case study, but then you can relate during the instruction, right? During the instructions. Yeah. Embedded. Let's say during the this will help you to identify FYP students, for example, in your department, for example, can contribute to which domain, which activity in your department.
Actually, by right in pharmacy, all the time, it's only.
That one is not
contextualize is very important. It's not only about the activity, but related to which issue. Related to the analysis as well at the level. So you can identify, ask them to identify the three most relevant SDG based on their FYP. Yes. That is also richer information you got rather than only.
Betul kita ada activity mention dia, but we embed them within our activity instruction. Later on, inshallah, the upper management, they can see that. Oh, you have hit the SDG goal.
Oh, in case study, in bracket, you can ask them. In bracket, case study in bracket. You mention about because they will ask right? This is how you need to be smart.
So another example is when we finish with the one semester actually.
Ya? Dah pulang dekat office ha.
Okay, I will change my name. NJ Hassan Ahas.
A little bit about this course. Okay, atas sikit. Okay, this is synopsis. Okay. So this course is designed to expose students to the use of IPA. I mean, basically to guide them on how to pronounce English words correctly. So they are future teachers, okay? So they are TESOL students. So this course will help them in teaching the correct pronunciation and intonation in English language, okay? So for that, okay. Right, so these are the course contents and whatnot, and okay, oopsie. All right, so sorry, before that is this is the program learning outcomes, okay, by the Kuliah of Kuliah of Education, okay, so if you want to have a read, okay, all right, is that clear? Okay, now, so the staff elements for this particular subject, so by the end of the program, with regards to the elements of Sejahtera academic framework, so the first learning outcome is to explain the basic concepts in phonology. So we think that the pillars of learning there is to know. So they need to be able to understand the basic concepts in phonology. Okay, so the MQF 2.0 is the area 1, so either PLO1 and PLO2, which is about understanding, knowing, and cognitive skills. Okay, and then from the Al-Ghazali framework, so it falls under the ilm. Okay, so we have ilm, amal, and few others. Okay, so this one is for ilm. And then it falls under SDG 4, which is quality education. So we have looked at each and every SDGs, so such as poverty, zero hunger, and whatnot. And we believe that specifically for this subject, it falls under SDG 4, quality of education. Okay, and then with regards to Maqasid Sharia, we believe that this is to preserve intellect. So we, the students, are preserving the knowledge of pronouncing and pronouncing words correctly, especially in English. And then for faith, we believe that apa hadis tadi Kak? إنما الأعمال إن طلب العلم فرضا على كل مسلمين والمسلمات. Therefore, through that, so we are preserving the religion, so the faith as well, inshallah. Okay, and then with regards to BR specifically, because these students are future teachers, so perhaps it falls under the pedagogy category, and in fact, it can be also social. We did community service. We are planned. So we planned. We are not. We are planned. We plan to do English for tahfiz. So we are helping our future da'is to be able to speak in English, especially in the context of Malaysia, inshallah. Okay, and then for the next learning outcome, transcribe English words using Fanamic transcription. So it is to know, so they need to know the Fanamic transcription, they need to know the IPA chart and be able to apply, to use it when they transcribe English words, okay? And then, so that is to understand and apply, and the Bloom's taxonomy. And we also we believe that with regards to MQF, it falls under area 1 and area 2. So under area 2 we have 3 PLOs, but for this one specifically falls under the practical skills. Okay, and then Al-Ghazali wise, so it is ilm, knowledge, and amal. So they know what are the symbols that we have in the IPA chart. Now they need to know how to use it. They need to know how to help students to pronounce English words using this symbol, okay? And then similar to CLO1, the Maqasid Sharia that we're focusing on is the intellect and faith, and it also falls under pedagogy. Basically because we are from education, so we are teaching, okay, the teaching of English. We are focusing on teaching of English, okay? And then CLO number 3, identify problem areas of pronunciation by learners of English. So these are future teachers. So when they teach, they need to know what are the errors, and they need to be able to help students to correct these errors and to help them to pronounce the words correctly, to correct the students lah. Okay, so that is to know and also to understand. But I think so for my assessment. See, I don't want them to just identify, but I also want them to find solutions. So, if to suit my assessment, so it is to know and to do. But generally speaking, for this course, particularly for this area, perhaps it's just to know, to understand, and that falls under the MQF area 1. And then for Al-Ghazali bit, so it falls under ilm, hal, meaning for particular context. So these teachers are teaching schools in Malaysia, so we focus on students or English learners in the context of Malaysia. And then we have the SDG 4, quality education, and intellect or faith and pedagogy. And finally, apply knowledge of phonology to explain correct pronunciation. So this again is to know and to do. They need to be able to understand the theories, okay, as well as to apply it when they teach in schools later, inshallah. And again, similar to CL2, the area, the MQF area is area 1 and area 2, and the Al-Ghazali bit is the ilm and amal. Actually, I did tell them, I did relate to the Islamization of Islamization of knowledge, meaning I relate that to especially the processes on how we produce sounds, right? So I relate it to Allah. So I'm not sure, maybe perhaps ada ma'rifatullah sikit situ ke? I'm not sure, but maybe. So, and then we have the SDG 4 is quality education, and Maqasid is intellect and faith, and the BR is pedagogy, and perhaps social as well. So I think that is it from us, and this is how we interpret all the concepts that we have learned since yesterday, and analyze it against the learning outcomes for phonology, for English language teaching subject. Okay, I think that's all from us. Thank you. Any question? Yes, please. Group members ready? Yes, very good, well done.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi everyone.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
I ask you the question, so you also ask back. When we present, yeah? All right. So what I see, can you go back to that?
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
That one, yes. Okay, bawah sekali.
Okay, my question is very simple, because I just want to clarify myself. Because I know you brought all 7 elements here. Mm-hmm. Can you justify why do you need to put 7 elements? Is it necessary for this course? Which one is most appropriate? Why don't you just stick with the most appropriate, like what we discussed yesterday with Professor J? Not necessary every single course has to go with 7 elements, but the program should go. Mm-hmm. So is there any way that you can work together with the program courses to justify all 7 elements? That's
okay. Thank you for the question. That is a very brilliant question. So why we incorporated all 7 elements? Simply because it is relatable. I mean, like, from our perspective, we can see that it's already embedded in the course. Okay, we did ask Prof. Isarji just now if we are to so if we are to look at it from the perspective of the program, as in the bigger sample. I mean, like program like the one you said is program learning outcomes, right? So that has to be discussed with perhaps other committee members. Okay, and I personally do not have that much of a knowledge with regards to all programs. Okay, so the one that I can work with now is this subject, because I'm teaching it at the moment. And when we look at all concepts that we've learned, I think it makes sense. It is, I mean, not necessarily we have to, but just because it is, it is relatable. No.
In another way, that reflect on your course outline, course content.
Yes, of course, because this is the course. Can you go?
All seven.
All seven. So if it is related to the learning outcomes, obviously it will relate to the course content, because the course content is built from the learning outcomes, if I'm not mistaken, inshallah. But I am confident. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for a good presentation and very comprehensive, and hopefully it can be applied to your colleague in the kuliah. Yeah. But then one thing about the SDGs, as I mentioned, that in order for us to be more relevant in the current context, I think we are keep criticizing on how is our the university in general being relevant in the current context of developments. And then this SDG, you are addressing on the SDG number 4, but if it is possible to identify which target that you are contributing directly. Yeah, and then that is also at the same time helps you to be more strategic in terms of the contribution in the future research or teaching and learning. Yeah, so I think that's all. If possible, like identifying which SDG targets and in your courses. Yeah, allow me to share if you can refer to the any SDGs websites that have details on the SDG targets. SDG targets. You can click on the SDG 4 and then identify the target as well. They have actually on the target number 4.1, for example. SDG 4 is about quality education. And if you look at on the target 4.1, if you can Google, mention about the free primary and secondary education, it is stated that ensure that all girls and boys complete free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education, leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes. So I think this is one way on how your courses will be contributing to
the SDGs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Honestly, we didn't realize that there's more to it, but it is definitely relevant. Yes. Inshallah, we will look
come
more
up with
into
the
that.
qualified teachers in terms of to improve this quality education. And one more thing, I think you can go through the further details of SDG, which SDG target that you are relevant, and then it helps you also to broaden on how you can improve your course learning outcome in order to be more relevant. Yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. We have something.
I may add on the SDG, rather than you specify it in the course learning outcome, because at the moment we have the course plan. So in the course plan you specify which content and which assessment, right? So it will be better, I think, if you want to put the targets in the course plan, so that you can actually maybe like this semester certain targets and next semester other targets. Yeah, that kind of thing probably. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's not going to be changed. We have a question.
Okay, just to add the Makosid element.
Yep.
So although this is about the linguistic, about sound, so just to enhance your link with the faith, with the religion.
Okay.
So there is a verse in the Surah Al-Mulk, verse 24, where the Quran says, "Qul huwa alladhi ansha'akum wa ja'ala lakum as-sam'a wal absara wal af'idah qalilan ma tashkurun." So say, who that give you the faculty of hearing, the faculty of seeing, and then the heart. But little of us, thanks to Allah. So this we bring back to our philosophy of education is the recognition of the master, of the creator of this universe. So although this is about the sound, but we have to link With the with this maqasid. Okay, thank you.
What verse, Prof?
Verse 24. Surah Al-Mulk 24.
Okay, I can practice that.
Okay.
With tajweed, inshallah.
Yeah. Just small additional information that the SDG is only until 2030. You are aware about that.
Yep.
So perhaps this will be more open until 2030 lah.
Okay.
So there will be another set.
There's
of
more like
SDG,
9 years to go.
Thank
So we can keep this, inshallah. Okay.
Sorry, just want to add.
Yes, please.
Just now you mentioned about 4.1, right? Wirina, I think 4.1 is for primary and secondary education. So which is for them?
Yes, yeah, we are producing secondary. Actually, focusing on secondary schools, but then some of our teachers are teaching primary as well.
Okay.
So it is comprehensive, inshallah.
So I mean, like it may be relevant to other courses as well. So we focus on the output, or we focus on what we want to produce through the course. Because I think if we want to produce through the course, there are some more relevant, I think, right? Which is the target would be very much. So we should
Such as within the quality of education. Do you mean
within
Prof?
the quality education?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look into that, inshallah.
Yes, I think it would be nice because if we tied up again back to Bu Irina comment, if we tied up to this, then we should looking at this course which is will survive another curriculum review, which is what 5 years, Prof? Usually.
Okay, inshallah, inshallah.
Yes, I think we should looking at mid-term rather than a short term that you're going to change every year.
Yep. That is a very good idea, inshallah. Thank you, Prof. So much for the suggestion.
4.4.c, 4C also.
So the suggestions from both doctors just now is that yes, it's good to put SDG 4 quality education, but for the future and also for future review, at what specific quality education are you talking about? And because they are producing primary and school teachers who are going to teach in the primary and secondary education, so that's why pronunciation is important. They can put it under quality education. Thank you.
We have another question. Alhamdulillah. So many questions.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
So just a basic question.
Yep.
What is the reason that the CLO is mapped to these 7 categories or 7
elements?
Elements.
Okay.
Not 5.
Why
Because
7?
we got so much, a lot of frameworks and tools, but why did you choose these 7? Is there a guideline or something?
No. Simply because we referred to the table Prof. Isarji showed us earlier. Plus, when we were thinking, what are the sub elements? So from yesterday, we were talking about SDG, Al-Ghazali, MQF, Maqasid, BR. So kita letak semua sekali dalam tu. Tengok relevant ke tak. It turns out all 7 relevant to this course. So Alhamdulillah. So reason dia, basic reason dia. Basic reason je. Yes.
So the reason is follow Prof. Isarji.
Yes.
You must be able to justify.
Yes.
You put 7, why?
Yeah.
5, why?
Yeah.
Here it comes in, SK will say, why did you do this? Oh, I agree. If you cannot justify, forget about it.
Okay.
They are able to justify. And then, I tell you what, if you have 14, you can still make it.
And not necessarily. For example, okay. Wah. It is not necessary. It depends on the course also, brothers. I mean, like, I am from education, so it is quite relevant to all these elements. But for Prof. Aziza, she's from law. You want to tell something, Kak? Oh, no. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Just now I do matching with Usul Al-Fiqh, and I can match all as well. So that's why we put the same criteria. Okay, I mean for staff. Okay, thank you.
Yes, please.
Boleh, Prof? Last one. Okay, I'm just wondering, can we, of course you're following the template of Prof. Isarji, so maybe my question is for you or for Prof. Isarji kot. Can we not put Bloom and Al-Ghazali together in the same column? And then I'm just wondering if we should if we have this type of mapping on the CLO, where does the vision and mission fall into? Should that be another column for the vision and mission? If we could put the Bloom together with Al-Ghazali, then that makes way for perhaps the need to map with our vision and mission. Our mission, there are 7 statements.
Let me Google that first.
Thank you.
So while waiting for the dead air, kalau if you are listening to a radio or television, if there's dead air, the person in charge of it will be fired. There's no dead air in terms of radio and television. So my suggestion is that was my presentation. That is how I look at it. But it's you, for your own courses, for your own programs, you decide. Because your program might be different than technical compared to theoretical base. You might use 7, you might use 5. But use your good judgment. I never say that you have to follow A. Only Al-Quran, you have to follow that. There's nothing that is cast in stone. You as a group decide, yeah? Can we do that? There's no decision that you have to follow all. But if you are able to map it with all, then it shows that, it works. It can be done for this course, but not for that course.
Okay.
All right? Okay.
I think the answer is, it is possible in a way that the mission is already, Prof? Not listening? So if you look, so I believe that the mission of IIUM is already embedded in all these elements, isn't it? Why? Because the elements of SAF is founded by the IIUM mission and vision. It is at the very lowest of SAF, if I understand it correctly. So if you look at the mission, one of it to reforming contemporary Muslim, produce better quality intellectuals, foster Islamization, which we have the IOK a bit just now, to nurture quality, holistic, excellent and whatnot, exemplify international community, enhance intercultural understanding and develop an environment. So my understanding, from my perspective, it is not necessarily to mention which mission that we are focusing on, because it is already embedded in the framework. Yes, please, brother. فليتفضل.
There is a car, there is a parts of the car. Not every parts of the car is engine.
Yeah.
Everything becomes together,
Mhm.
and every parts of the car is supporting the car.
Yeah.
Including the engine.
Yep.
So not necessarily every single course has to
Related.
establish everything. So it can actually work together with program.
Yeah, that's the comment that I wanted to give. That's the comment that I wanted to give, and mashallah, you give me the right response. So you pass the test. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum.
Dr. Iza, Dr. Iza. Dr. Iza. Okay, we would like to invite the next group to present. This is on course outline also, yeah? Yeah. No. This is group. Course outline. A and B, yeah?
If it is course outline, we are the next one.
Yeah, the next one, A and B. And then they will C and D. Group B. Group B, yeah? A and B, C and D, and E and F. Okay, that's fast. Yeah, simple lah. Like whatever you can see now, you can justify. Boleh jawab. Yeah, good.
That's the foundation of everything.
These are the trainers. Kalau dia tak boleh jawab, tapi Dr. Irina tu betul. You put that untuk quality education kan, tak apa, but when people ask, you must be able to explain why does it relate to speak tu kan. You don't have to explain presentation non-specific, but you must understand what it is kan. Kalau tidak, everybody talks about quality education. What is it? Semua quality. But specifically what is it? What is it? Itu lah kata untuk submit MQA biasa MQA-nya kan. Itu punya lain. Kalau tidak, dia pun tak faham. Kena kita pula kena kat situ panel kita panel MQA pula nanti dia tanya kita. Can I suggest Dr. Mira, can I suggest, since everyone is here, instead of inviting as trainers, appointment as master trainers, because they can put it in their CV. Appointment as master trainers, TOT, master trainers for training of trainers. Yeah, appointment because kalau inviting, we just invite saja kan. For appointment, then you are the master trainers and put in the CV that you are one of the master trainers. Okay, boleh ya? Because you can sign, no problem. Because it's good for the CV kan, appointment as master trainer kan.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. So for our course outline, I choose my subject, which is plant pathology. So basically in this topic, we want to expose a second year student, first semester, to the different types of plant disease and also plant disease microorganisms that cause the disease. And we want to teach the students on how to differentiate the different signs and symptoms that is caused by this disease and how to control and to come up with a proper disease management. So that will be the objective of this subject. And for the CLO, the first CLO is to provide the fundamental knowledge, okay, about the biology and taxonomy characteristic of the different microorganisms that cause a plant disease. And then second one is to discuss the basic principle. To discuss the basic principle and concepts of plant-pathogen interaction that lead to the disease establishment, especially in a commercial plant species. We are going to focus on the crop plant species, and then to demonstrate effective steps involved in diagnosing, controlling, and preventing plant disease. So can you go down? Okay, so these are the topics. So in my group, we try to map because we have different components where we want to provide the fundamental knowledge and we want to teach them how to apply the fundamental knowledge in diagnosing and also come up with a proper disease management. So we map the each component, each topic with CLO, SDG, SAF, MQF, Al-Ghazali, and EST. So for the basic fundamental knowledge on, for example, we have for plant disease concepts, we map to the CLO1 where we provide the fundamental knowledge about the overall concept of the plant disease. And all the components, all the topics in this subject is to can fulfill the preserving to fulfill the SDG 15, which is life on land, where we want to preserve the environment and to give a more better we utilize the whatever resources, natural resources, in sustainable management. So for the first topic, in a plant disease concept, the MQF level that involved is on the knowledge and understanding and also cognitive skills and a little bit on functional skills, where they need to differentiate. For example, this one is fungi or this one is bacteria, and the symptoms on the plant. And then the second one is disease development and disease diagnosis. So it's on to pillar of learning, learning to know, and also BR, where they will learn how to diagnose. When they diagnose using the scientific and all the scientific terminologies, but they need to know how to deliver the information. Because in this topic they will deal directly with farmers. Okay, so they need to know how to communicate the terminologies in a common language, the language that can be understood by farmers. Okay, and then on the genetic of plant disease, genetic of resistance in host plant, and also the plant disease caused by bacteria is to fulfill the knowledge, learning to know. And then also it's more on the technical aspect for them, that they need to know in detail how this pathogen cause disease in plant and what are the responses, because these responses will reflect on the symptoms that will be observed on plant. So when they know how to differentiate this type of symptoms, so they can come out later on. They can come out with a proper, there is another topic there, because we are going in this subject. It's okay, up, going up. Okay, so because we separate, like for bacteria, because it's a very big, a lot of disease that caused by bacteria, so they need to know what are the defense response by the plant, and how the plant infect on the disease that caused by bacteria, disease caused by fungi, disease caused by virus, and disease caused by nematode. So they need to learn. So we designed that the topics to they learn by each microorganisms. So it's a fundamental knowledge. So after they acquire this knowledge, they need to know about the plant disease epidemiology, how to forecast. Okay, because during the plant disease epidemiology, they need to forecast whether this disease is epidemic or pandemic, so that when they can forecast this, they can come up with a proper. Can you go a little bit down? Sorry. The item number 20, plant disease management. So towards the plant disease management, they need to have the knowledge on what are the pathogens. To identify the pathogens, they need to identify the symptoms first on plant, because the patient is plant that cannot talk, cannot give response. So they need to have this knowledge where from the symptoms they can pinpoint what are the pathogen that cause, and then when they learn about the disease epidemiology, when they talk, this is like the end of the courses, when they talk with the agricultural agency or with the farmers, they can give a proper solution on how to control the disease, on how to control the pathogen, and kind of like if they want to give forecasting the disease in terms of what are the pesticide, how many pesticide that they will use, what type of fertilizer that they will be used, and different disease management. So in disease management, they will learn about the physical control, chemical control, and also the biological control. So all this, so this is the main part of the plant pathology, where they need to integrate in self-element with a social. So they need to deal with the communities and also the different agricultural agency, and this also can fulfill the Makasid Al-Syariah life on dealing with life. and also there will be a lot of non-formal student life activities. Okay, they need to learn on how to when communicate with farmers, the term must be general, okay, less scientific. So in here, the MQF level is more on the not only knowledge and understanding, but also on the cognitive skills, especially on the application, because during diagnosing you need a certain and then also functional skill. So you need a certain skill on how to identify the pathogen, and then you need a certain skill how to deliver the finding to the, maybe in terms of digital infography and so on. And then, so that's why the ESD for this particular two topics is not only learning to do, learning to know, but also learning to do and learning to be. So because from this objective, these courses, hopefully by when they graduate, if they work with like agronomists, or they work in any agricultural sectors or private, even open their own nursery, they need to have this knowledge so that they can provide not only to the society but also for themselves. So this is the presentation. So
thank you. Questions? Comment.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you, sister. This very interesting. I just maybe some observation. The first column, is this one the CLO or the topic that has been taught?
No. The CLO is actually on. Can you go different? Sorry, I didn't level. The CLO is on that, but the one that I listed, we listed down is actually the course content.
Okay. So
course topic.
Okay, because this one was very confusing for me.
Yeah.
So you do the mapping by the topic, right?
Yeah, by the topic. Because for me, it's not. We cannot do like a general, because some of the topics are more.
3 or 4? 3. And the rest are lesson outcomes. Mean to say that today is our lesson. At the end of this lesson, at the end of the hour, this is what you are supposed to achieve. So that's what they are more specific. They are going into detail. That's okay. I will not stop that. Our requirement is course learning outcomes, not lesson outcomes. Yeah. So that's why you have so many topics, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah. That's very specific. Because lesson outcomes is easier for those who is new, or if you cannot make it to teach that day, another person comes in, they look at the lesson outcome, they know.
The be asked with a social element is more appropriate.
Would you mind to scroll up a bit? I just want to have a look for the learning. I think that makes sense why the ESD is learning to be and learning to do. But for
which one?
For row 18, yeah. Row 18.
This one?
Yeah. The epidemiology, BI social, but it's learning to know. So it's a bit different to your definitions and understanding just now, right? So.
Okay. Yes. Is it?
Just to add the maqasid. So your maqasid is about the protection of life, but also I think this is about the protections of the environment. Protections what Allah has given to us. So you see the words of Allah, وَالَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. So the plants also this what Allah has given us. So this you try to manage this disease. This is management of the plant. So this is about the protections of well as well.
Oh well. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
If you have the next group to prepare for the presentation, we're out of time now, Rizal. Okay.
Tak boleh ke? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to all, to Prof and also to all the participants. So I'm Saiful Insan. I'm from Kuala of Medicine. I represent my team members from Group E and Group F. So the task given to us is actually to present what are the things that can be incorporated in course outline pertaining to action in research. So just an introduction for us to know about action in research. So basically, it's a kind of action whereby that we as academicians involved with the students to conduct a plan, a pre-plan before we join into the project, before we join into a certain plan that we would like to conduct together with the student. So we need to find out what the problem is, depending on the community that we would like to conduct the project. So meaning that the problem list or the learning teams can be arise from these few learning process. Example like solutions driven, interdisciplinary, stakeholder engagement. So like what we do in Kuala of Medicine, we are more familiar with stakeholder engagement, whereby we together with the students can go into the community level and we try to discuss with them regarding this through the face-to-face discussion and also meeting to find out what are the things that they need from us, what are the important diseases that have in that community, and what are the services that they would like us to give and to conduct in that community level. We also can get the information from solutions driven, from interdisciplinary, meaning from the discussion, from the social media, from any news that we have. For example, that we know that one of the common cause of death in Malaysian population include heart disease. So we also can include this in our project as well. So depending on that, we will proceed further with further reflection of the problem list, or how we can plan with the collaboration with the community, and this involved with the process of systemic thinking. So then proceed with the activities. So we can go with several projects, several plan. Example that we go into the community level, we conduct intervention plan, research, data collection, and so on, and we present the findings together in the university, also in the community level, and do some intervention to improve the outcome of the population. So I think it's like a cycle, and this will be continue and will be involved not only the students but also the academician to guide the students to involve in this research project. So three categories of pedagogical that can be included in action-oriented include interactive and participative methods, research methods, action-oriented methods. So I'm going to highlight about the action-oriented methods that we already incorporated in Kuala of Medicine, whereby we try to solve a real community problems and involve the students in the planning and also intervention with the community. So in Kuala of Medicine, we are more close to the SD number 3, whereby to ensure the healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. So we've got this figure from this article, blending the principles of participatory action research approach and elements of grounded theory in a disaster risk reduction education case study in Journal of Qualitative Methods, volume 19. In this figure, that. Okay, I'm sorry, there's some technical problem. So in this figure, the process of action research can start with questioning, meaning that we try to find what are the problem lists according to the news that we gathered. Sometimes we get it from the interview with the community representative, and we do the reflections about either this problem list is really, really important. Is it something that achievable, that can be done at the student level, and try to investigate further what are the factors associated with the problems and develop a plan, and after that implement the project plan, and after that come up with the presentation of the outcome and do some intervention to improve the outcome. So I share this course outline. Basically, in Kuliah of Medicine, we have several course outline. I think it's up to 30, whereby half of them will be incorporated in year 3, year 4, and year 5. In year 3, year 4, year 5, basically every course outline would have element of community engagement because the students attach in clinic kesihatan as well as in hospital. So I give example in this course outline in year 4, community medicine. Community medicine actually is a branch of medicine that deal with the community engagement, whereby we try to identify what are the diseases, are the infectious, non-communicable diseases that present in that community, try to improve, try to detect and treat earlier to prevent the complication from the disease. So it's quite similar because the core disciplines in community medicine involve epidemiology, biostatistics, environmental health, and family health, which is a primary care, whereby it starts from the primary care level and prevent the disease from becoming into complication and admission to the hospital. Next. So I give example in this course learning outcomes of community medicine of Kuliah of Medicine program. So we can see that from these outcomes, starting number 2 to number 4, to apply the principles of preventive medicine, meaning that we would like to know what are the risk factors present in the community and prevent from developing the disease. Critically appraise evidence for public health practice, means there's elements to identify the evidence of the effectiveness of preventive measures that we conduct in the community level and conduct a real population-based health survey in the community and come up with the presentation and plan how to improve the outcome of the disease or any risk factors present in the community level. Next. So this is in concordance with the 5 pillars of UNESCO's ESD, whereby that the student learning to know, learning to do, learning to live together, learning to be, and learning to become, transform oneself and society, which is ESD, transformative learning, which includes the cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and affective domain, which is present in our cross-learning outcome. Next. So if you can see from this instruction method, there is a components of district posting, field visit, and community survey. So in district posting and field visit, the students together with the supervisor, the lecturers, will come and sit down at the community level. We discuss with the community representative, for example, in Orang Asli area, the Ketua Kampung will involve and we'll discuss about what are the things that require, what kind of the disease that prevalent in that that community level. And we'll do a community survey, and after that come up with a health promotion day so that we can intervene the problems and do some intervention at the student level. So at the student level, what they can do is that they detect the health disease according to the screening program, and after that there will be channeled to the clinic kesihatan nearby. So when we do the program, usually we involve not only the community and also from the university, but also involve from the clinic kesihatan medical officers. So also involve the industry, the community, and also the university. So the benefit is not only to the community, but also to involve the services to gain communication and also teamwork from the Ministry of Health as well in that area. So it come up with a proposal, come up with the meeting plan so that can get agreement to involve medical officers from nearby clinic kesihatan. Next. So, if you look at the instruction component, there will be field visit, district posting, and health promotion day. So, in health promotion day, after doing the community survey, we will identify what are the things required in the health promotion day, and during that time, we also invite certain specialists from Ministry of Health to give an education to the community, and also from there, we can also recruit the patients into the channel to the proper treatment pathway, either in the hospital or also in clinic kesihatan. Next. So what are the assessment include from this course outline, whereby what are the findings that the student have from the community survey, either in the report and presentation, and what are the intervention outcome achievement that they receive that have gained in the health promotion day. So basically, these are the things that are incorporated in our course outline regarding action in research, whereby we involve the academician, the students to be involved in the community level and give the benefit to the community as well as to the student as well. I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saiful. You submitted the mapping, yeah, Dr. Saiful? Very good mapping. Okay, questions from anyone here? Tired already? Hungry already? I just can I ask a question also? Can you show the constructive alignment of the learning outcomes, the teaching methods, and also the assessment? Next one. Wait before this. Yeah. So this is the constructive alignment. You have the learning outcomes, you have the teaching methods, the delivery, and also the assessment methods. So, assuming that we'd like to seek clarification regarding the assessment and also the outcomes. So, do you have a project for this course?
Okay. Regarding this community medicine, so in 1 year, the student will be divided into 3 major groups. So each major group will have one lecturer in charge. So this lecturer in charge will have the flexibility to discuss with the students to identify what is the project. So this will depending on the problem list that they have during that time discussion.
Problem-based assessment, meaning to say that at the end of it, they have to present the project, have to write the project. Right? Yeah. So it's good to put, if it is project-based, is it a project, course project, to put it at the assessment methods. Yeah, because you have a project. Yeah, because we look at the assessment method, continuous assessment, and a block assessment. Where's the project there? Because in a block examination, you have multiple choice. Yes. Then you have to, if it is under continuous assessment, it's good to put it, specify, to put it is project-based or problem-based. Because the idea is that if not, if an auditor comes in, he will look at end of block examination. So that's just a lecture. You can lecture someone, then people can fill in the multiple choice, true, false, blah, blah, blah. That's it. But there's no indication of the project, but you are doing it. You're doing a case study, just put it in there so that people understand, oh, there's a project there. Not that you're not doing it, but it is under continuous assessment. Is there a case study?
Not only depending on the supervisor, it could be a case study, it could be a survey, it could be a project, so it's quite flexible, but this is just a general guidelines for the lecturers to follow.
Because we look at the SLT, this is very good because they include the SLT also, this over and above that we asked you to do, but this is part of the course outline. If you look at the CLT, lecture is 71 allocated hours, right? First one. At the bottom, you have, what is it? Can you scroll down a little bit? Community survey, 70 hours. So that community survey is part of the project.
Yes.
So that's why it is important to put the project, because it's a big chunk of the assessment. Do you assess the project?
Yes.
So do they have to write a...
Yes.
How many pages do they have to write? Plus and minus about?
It's about 5 to 10 pages.
5 to 10 pages? Yeah. Do they have to present?
Yes, they have to present. And at the end of the
you
posting...
can put it under continuous assessment, but it's good to specify so that the students know that they have to present, they have to write.
What is the percentage?
I'm not from this department, so I'm not really sure the details.
Scroll up again. Let's look at assessment, the percentage. Okay, here. What's the percentage of continuous assessment? 10%?
I'm not sure about the from the department.
So it's good to, because that is the standard, right? You put what's the percentage for out of 100%. So these are some of the suggestions here to improve. Yes.
Under the theme of action research, go back to the previous slide. Wait. Further down. next. Yeah, this one. Under the action research teams is if we are addressing on how is from each of the teaching learning methods is at the same time function as tools to collect the data, right? So may I know which from each of these LO1, LO2 especially, for what kind of data that you are collect, and then how is documented, and then it's being part of the report at the end. Because knowing that you mentioned it's about the 5 pages of the report, where I'm not sure whether this kind of chunk of data that can be actually potentially analyzed and then put it into the comprehensive report at the end can be part of the actual research at the end. So this is, may I know how is the data that collected from this kind of teaching learning method, the practical flip, what kind of data that you are collected, and the field visit also, is it possible to detail out under the action research?
Okay, I give example, Prof. For example, that in the previous posting, they found out that a certain community area there is a higher prevalence of hypertension. So the topic will be covering non-communicable disease. So NCD will include hypertension, diabetes mellitus, dyslipidemia, and obesity. So they are aiming to find out what are the prevalence and risk factors happen in that community. Example, in Pekan, for example. So the data collection will involve during the district posting. So there will be a practical area there, field visit, and before that, they will go to the house. According to the sample size calculation I have done previously, in the university level, at the class level, they will do a theory part. They find out what the sample size required before they go into the community, and there will be several visits to be conducted in that community area. So the data collection will be according to the objective of the study. So it could be the number of patients diagnosed with hypertension during the screening area. So they will bring a sphygmomanometer, glucometer to identify the population with those diseases. And from there, they also have the demographic data of the patient. So they also collect demographic data, including age, gender, races, and also occupation. So from this, they will find out the association in that community area. So that kind of data they would like to collect.
I think the course is suitable to have the action research because the LOs are all addressing it from the beginning of you, doing the preliminary data search up to the designing of the intervention up to closing the project, right? I looking at the other details of the course outline, you may have a challenge in trying to fit in the existing assessment and making it as an action research. So you have to be very careful to know which of the teaching learning TL methods, the assessment methods that in a way will also, you can consider it as part of the action research project. So I think it's also important for you to be able to identify when you plan, right? Because you said that they will go, they have home visits, they have screening. So where do they start that designing the intervention program?
Okay.
You have to draw this up.
All right.
Because how long is the course?
For this is about 12 weeks.
12 weeks. So I assume it's just one cycle, right? Mm-hmm. Because you don't have enough time for 2 cycles, right?
Yeah.
So, and at the end of the study, there is a need for us to know also what is the impact of the program.
Yes.
So this is based also on the report that you're going to come up with. So, looking at here, I do not know whether your continuous assessment, do you include also a report? If you can specify it, will be better. Then you can see that it's an extensive course, and it can also double up as an action research project.
Okay. Thank you very much for the input, Prof.
Thank you very much, Dr. Swaila. Thank you very much, Dr.
Saiful.
More.
Thank you.
Show appreciation to them. Looking at his presentation just now, we need to understand the importance of constructive alignment. CA. I believe that all of you have participated in the constructive alignment workshop. Okay. Okay. All right. All right, thank you. Next group, yeah, do we have the next group? Last one, all right. We give them 5 minutes? Okay.
Okay. Boleh mula ke, Prof? Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now it's 12:30, right? So it's approaching lunch. So maybe I take about 2 hours to explain. Oh no, just 10 or maybe 10 minutes, less than that, inshallah. So actually, our slides, I think the most simplest, most easiest to understand because we're just making the framework. I know initially we criticize a lot. Now when we do it, we know it's very difficult. We are criticizing each other. Alhamdulillah, no laptops been thrown, everything. Okay, Alhamdulillah, we try our best actually. First, we try to improvise the page that given to us because it is easy for us to criticize but very difficult for us to come out with our new solution. So we try our best. Of course, this is not the best. Definitely questions going to be thrown to us, but my team members will take all the questions. Inshallah, I will answer a few of them. But the idea is that to make us understandable. First of all, what is humanizing education as mentioned by Prof. Isarji yesterday? The gist that I understood was that 2 things. Number 1 is the balanced individuals. Balanced individual means in this world, in hereafter, and the balance between heart, mind, and soul. Right? Because indeed, in one of the video we saw, one of the issues of students being produced like a factory. So we want to inculcate the adab inside, the ethics inside our students. So that's the idea of humanizing education. So without adab, as if we are like others who claim they are also doing the humanizing education. So we have the elements of spirituality, the elements of Islam. So as you can see in this particular, the whole canvas, the outside layer, we put it almost interchangeable between maqasid syariah and the vision and mission. Because all of us know and believe that everything that we do, it must be under the guidance of Islamization. Right? One of the elements of the triple ICE. And maqasid syariah. Just like me, myself, right? You can see me as a 2 role, as a staff and as a person who's been thrown here to help the kuliah, right? Not been thrown, but been not deserve, something that a privilege maybe to come here and discuss about these things, right? So as a person, as a staff members, as a IHK coordinator, 2 different roles, the same person. Similarly, in this canvas, you can view it as part of the I am vision and mission, and another role of it as to fulfill the objective of Sharia. That's why we put the 5 elements on the floor, not on the floor, on the ground, and the top as the vision and mission. This is flexible, like a 2 canvas we're putting together. Okay, so I think we're not going to explain further about the preservation of life, intellect, faith, wealth, and lineage. Yesterday, Dr. already mentioned to us there are certain rankings depending on certain contexts, right? But Islamization, vision, and mission, we have the 7 statements. We are focusing on producing better intellectuals, the integration, the internalization, the lifelong learning, all of these elements. So whatever we do, whatever framework we do for humanizing education, we have these two as our background. Okay, so let us go one by one. So all of these things are the elements. The elements, like our body, our hands, feet, head, and etc., right, are elements, but all of them are imbued inside Maqasid Syariah and the vision and the mission of the university. So that's the basic idea. So let us go in brief. Number one, we are talking about the producing balanced graduates. I mentioned yesterday about the Jerihas, the Khalifah, all of us are the vicegerents as mentioned in the Quran. In Al-Baqarah chapter 2 verse number 30, that we have been created as the Khalifah. And we have the amanah to do our job. Like every time we go to Jum'ah, we always listen to the khatib mention, right? Adil amanati ila ahliha, right? Then rahmatan lil alamin, the concept of rahmatan lil alamin, which means whosoever enter our university, they can see rahmah inside our university. That is one of the idea. They see merciful, they see Islam in our university. That is the idea that we want to calculate. Because we know that our Prophet, as mentioned in the Quran, in Al-Anbiya, chapter number 21, verse number 107, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. So whosoever enter to our university, either Muslim or non-Muslim, they can see there's something inside our university. Right? So that's the idea that we want to put. So this is one of the criteria, which is the balanced graduate combined with khair. Combined, which is actually part of the Islamization as well. But as I say, this is another way of looking at it. And then we are looking about the pillars of learning, which is already mentioned a lot in the presentation earlier, right? We're talking about to know, to do, to live together, to be and to become. Definitely, when we are talking about subjects, doesn't mean that each subject need to have this. For example, when I'm teaching anatomy, right? I'm teaching anatomy. Some of my colleagues from medicine, they are using corpse, dead body, right? I might using plastinated specimens, videos, and etc. So to demonstrate, and for those particular students who are learning it, it's part of the fundamental knowledge. But for other subjects, they need to practice. For example, I'm coming from physiotherapy department for palpation, muscles, bone, and etc. Coming from other subjects. So depending on the subjects, some of the subjects may require you to know good enough. That is why we have the Bloom's taxonomy, right? Understand, apply, and etc. So we are putting knowledge according to the context. And there are certain knowledge to be gained by living together. For example, those who are doing herbal studies, when they enter to the remote areas, they are living with the aborigines. They got a lot of information, a lot of knowledge coming from them. So one of the ideas of pillars of learning, when we mention about living together, be and become, is the idea of SDGs, which can be related as well. Although we don't put it as one separate element, but we see SDG is one part of it, the 17 goals. For example, in Kuantan, there are researchers who went to the areas to be together with the nelayan kan, fishermen, and teach them how to produce good fish, breeding, and etc. So they live together, they learn together, they have the exchange of technology, they know the issues, they know the problem. But this is applying the concept of the pillars of learning, which is the philosophical part, which is part of the FPK which mentioned earlier, that involve not only our physical body, intellect, as well as our spiritual. Okay, next we're talking about BR. This is very important because we are talking about the stakeholders. We need to know what are stakeholders of a university. We claim our university to become a center for intellectuals, for progressive ummah. What are the stakeholders? Who are the stakeholders? The staff, the students, the admins. Do we ever talk about non-academic staff? They are very important. Students, not only meeting the lecturers inside the class, they need to go and have support from the staff. For visa issues, for example, security issues, they are meeting the staff. Now we have COVID, right? Most of us are online, right? But those who are entering Mahala, for example, sometimes the issue of Mahala become problematic and even can cause them to have stress. So all of these things need to be taken care under humanizing education. We are talking as well as the support staff. It's very important, empowerment of the support staff. So we're talking about, number one, pedagogy is very important, the underlying theories of learning. Of course, a lot of theories of learning has been done nowadays, right? Sometimes it becomes student-centered, sometimes it becomes murabbi or hour-centered. But unfortunately, sometimes always the time we ask students to learn. We just come to the class, or maybe we just give pre-recorded videos that have been recorded 2 or 3 semesters earlier. So this is something that we should empower ourselves, right? So that is the murabbi part, and this murabbi need to be assessed. Some says that murabbis shouldn't be assessed. The CFS, right? Sometimes I don't want to read the comments of CFS. SFS, CFS is different. Thank you. So alhamdulillah, Dr. Jannah, you are alert. Alhamdulillah, very good. Right? For me, I read it. If I've been criticized, I took it. If it's a genuine criticism, I took it as a part of myself to improve. But it's not for me to boast to others. Oh, alhamdulillah, I got 100% for a particular subject. Maybe the student just, just put it there in order for them to pass or to finish the semester. Talk about facilities, the libraries, all of the maintenance. We are talking about the maintenance of the students' facilities. What about staff facilities? There are a lot of studies. Yesterday, I think I read some of the studies stress even to the staff, especially during COVID-19 and even before COVID-19. How many of the staff are stressed? There are studies being done in UKM. I read some of the studies about up to 50%, 40% because they are doing the DAS survey, right? Depression, anxiety, stress scale. So we can see not even the student, even the staff. So when we mention about BR, not mention about the students only, we are talking about the whole environment. And we are talking about the nature. For example, in our kuliah of Life Sciences, alhamdulillah, we have the flagship of medical Malay manuscript, when we plant certain herbs and etc., and even to sustain for food production in future, hopefully. There are projects doing on that, of nature. We are talking about river, right? We have the river project and etc. So all of these things are important part of the humanizing education. Not only about staff, not only about classroom, or not only about the subject matter itself, all of the environment itself. That's the idea of BR that we're talking about. Plus the social, how does the student represent themselves? When they are outside of the university, right? When they went outside, or you are from UAE, lead the solah, although it's not imam. Lead the solah from UAE. You are bringing the name of IIUM outside. Some of us are having a plate of IIUM, right? So the thing is, how do I say, the character inside the IIUM has been brought up outside of IIUM. So all of these matters when we talk about humanizing education. We're not talking about asabiyah. We are not talking about a certain types of labeling, but we are talking about the comprehensive of environment. Okay, I'm given a signal. I'm afraid we've been shot here. Okay, in terms of accreditation, very important. Professor Haji mentioned about MQA and etc. So we have programs. I think in the course I mentioned, and these programs should be accredited. Those who are involving the credit hours. And we have programs that are non-accredited, which is very important because some students, they are very active. For non-accredited, they are like to join clubs, debates. I'm not sure now debates maybe have been credited, but the outside activity that are very ingrained to themselves for them to release their stress, right? So this must be taken care of with the whole framework of Maqasid Sharia and Islamic vision and mission. And that's all. Okay, that's all. That's the brief one. And we open for any questions, inshallah. And we welcome any criticism. We are expected, even if we are criticizing ourselves. So, no problem, inshallah. Open the floor.
Doctor, question. I walk all the way here for you too.
Oh, okay.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum, brother. Thank you so much for the very comprehensive explanation. I really like it. It's very simple and very understandable. It's just that I'm a bit confused with the elements of BR. So I understand it, as you said. So for that bit, we are talking about the stakeholders, right? But how do you relate that to the stakeholders? And is it correct if I say, so can you go to the slide, please?
Okay, sekejap. Dia telah sangkut sikit. Okay.
Okay. So these are the elements needed to humanize education from the perspective of the stakeholders.
Yeah,
Is
actually
it?
we are talking about different stakeholders that contribute to humanizing of education. So for us, when we mention about humanizing education, we should always know that it does not involve only students, just not only involve staff. It involves all of the environment, because the word BR itself is difficult for us to define, to comprises all. Right? We are talking about, for example, let's say we enter to the university and we saw a lot of rubbish on the road in the morning. What happens? Definitely it become a negative mood for us, right? Or maybe we want to enter to our room. Our room lock is problematic. You cannot lock your door, etc. So the security is issue there. So all of these things are important for us in order to achieve humanizing education. So we are expanding the concept of BR. That's what we understood. Maybe others can comment or can enrich us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. If you have questions, you can ask this group personally. You can ask him personally later. Yeah. So we're gonna. Thank you very much for the tour.
Thank you very much.
So Dr. Izzah, yeah, you're gonna break for lunch and prayer, and we'll come back at what time? At 2. At 2 for the final presentation. Yeah. And then we'll let you go. At 2, yeah? Because there's one more final presentation. Huh? Boleh? Huh? Any more presentation? Yeah, dah tua, lupa. So thank you very much for the presentation. I would like to invite Dr. Izzah. I would like to invite Dr. Mira for the closing session, and also, okay. Yes. Thank you for all the presentations. Yeah.
All right. So I think we can conclude the session. Is that? Or do you have anything to say? Sorry?
To ask a question, suggestion.
Yeah, I think you can say.
No more Q&A, right?
No more Q&A for the previous session.
Yeah. I mean overall. Do we have? Sorry, Prof. Okay, Assalamu alaikum everyone again. This is just. I think I thought there will be a Q&A for the closing session, so I'm just taking part. I'm also representing my group. So what I'm feeling right now is I remember the hadith, like Prophet said, when they were coming from the battle, he said, now you are coming from Jihad Asghar, you are going to Jihad Akbar. So now everything here, alhamdulillah, we learned so many things, but the real issues start when we go back to department. Right? So that's the real issue. It's like there's another hadith like nafaqa handala. So when we go there, it's like confusing. We don't know how to handle this. So my concern here, Prof, because when it comes to department required courses, because we have these university required courses, Kulliyah required courses, and then department required courses. So my concern here, on what level we are actually implementing this Insan Sejahtera academic framework. Because what I see personally, when it comes to that department required courses, it is where more challenges are there. And I don't think I will be able to explain to my department or that particular course. Maybe it is quite easier if you want to do at the university level. Perhaps it could be my humble observation, also my suggestion, because most of the time what we do, we generalize things. Like everybody has to do, every single course has to follow. But if you look at the Quranic perspective, there is a wisdom in Quran. Allah says, وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ
ummatun. Like the ta'ifatun, for example, because one group of people do this, one ummah do this, that will actually justify what others are doing. So from the beginning I was thinking that this Insan Sejahtera framework, why don't we just start applying to the university required courses only, and then see the outcome. And then, it can go to Kulliya required courses, because Kulliya required courses, sometimes it is also, we talk about something in common. But when it goes to department required courses, I think it is quite difficult to, because we don't have any model. Because the university required courses, in fact, you can also revise the course content immediately. And then the department cannot be revised immediately because it takes a longer time to go through. Okay. So that's my humble observation. So maybe you can. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think it is timely that we have these questions and feedback just now, the one that you give. I think, if I'm not mistaken, during DCM as well as the Senate meeting, it has been mandated that all kuliah is currently is supposed to be in the stage of curriculum review. So that is, and this is the reason why we still proceed with the training anyway on December, despite that usually CPD will prepare the training by this time. We usually do strategic meeting and then plan for the training next year. But we will miss the momentum. So I think, given that the dean has been pushed to conduct the curriculum review and to have you this training, so we really hope actually you would be able to highlight this, whatever you have learned in these 2 days, to the kuliah, to pass back that to the kuliah. And I agree that it will not be perfect in the first go, and we don't expect that to be perfect in the first go. But I really hope that by now you would be able to see that it is doable, because we have seen 2 course outline has been revamped, have been embedded with certain values and things like that. So it is doable, right? It will take a while for people to realize that and buy it, but having all of you there, we are more. What should I say? I think we have that peace of mind. Yes, someone actually is there to assist the kuliah. What is currently, before this session, what is the problem that we often hear is that no one in the kuliah actually have that full understandings of the processes. They know a bit about SAF, they know a bit about curriculum review, but because no one actually able to sit down and guide, that becomes the main issues. But now that everyone is here and you have gone through that, I really hope, because otherwise I will be very sad if you come back to the kuliah and saying, I still don't know anything about SAF. Even you have simplified it, I think that shows in a way there are things portions of stuff that you can relate to, and that's good. Okay, will I be able to highlight that and revamp stuff? It may not be. Okay, because I know there are certain officers that really into it. But will I be able to highlight these are the portions that people can relate to? I think I can, and that alone will help the messages on how they convey this to the kuliah. Should be, because all this while seems that the message that get across is compliance. So it shouldn't be compliance, because again we have shown, we understand that. We know that the role of Murabi is central, the role of Islamization is important. We know that. So it is wrong for them to our top management to assume that we don't know that just because probably we cannot buy the whole framework. We understand that we buy it. It's just that probably in terms of translating to the course, it takes time. But then again, because you are there, I'm very sure we will get there faster, inshallah. So can I assume that, Dr. Aslam, that although it will not be able to revamp the entire curriculum, but you will help us to communicate to the kuliah?
Just a concern that we are still when we go there, we have friends.
You have.
So we have, because they were our teachers, our professors, because we learn a lot from them. So that's where actually sometimes they ask questions, definitely we cannot answer
I'm afraid now if my HOD call for meeting, what I'm supposed to tell? If I say something, it doesn't make sense, then they will ask back, what did you learn? Right? So that's the concern actually.
I know.
Hopefully, maybe you can have another, maybe half-day workshop.
Sure.
Call my professors, also myself.
Sure.
So let's come. Prof. Isaji must be there.
Sure.
Let's have this one more time. Inshallah.
That is another thing that I anticipated actually, the dynamic, the politics in the kuliah and whatnot. Okay, sure, Prof. But I really wants to make sure at least someone open the how to put it. Yeah, at least someone give a different perspective. Because all this while we are too comfortable, and we are also too comfortable looking at the dynamic. Okay, so if I talk, who am I? I'm just the assistant professor. Who am I? I will not be able to make the change because I'm just new here. I'm just 1 year in IUM. So we have that skepticism again, as I said. But if no one offer a different perspective, we will always be the same. And I'm worried that's the case we are in now. We are too comfortable looking at our weaknesses. We are too comfortable making excuses to the level it can be a cognitive dissonance. And that is worrying for Islamic University. Islamic is before the terms university, right? So I think, if we can get into that, and this is the spirit that CPD has. We have been, again, as I said, we have been going from kuliah to the kuliah. I can sense the dynamic very much in the first 30 minutes of the meetings, that sometimes the seniors are kind of dominating the sessions or whatnot. But we have to change. If I can go back to that, I know. If it's hard, I know.
If we can find let's say like a fellow or
yeah.
Or in the name of Islamization.
Sure.
Most of us here under the Islamization.
Sure.
That comes under separation.
Yeah.
Nice here. But what we do next? That's the question. Are we going to make us as a fellow or?
We will highlight for sure. We will highlight to the university. We have conducted this training. There are peoples from the kuliah that has been trained, has been highlighted on the importance of all the elements that the university has in all the frameworks, the processes of going from raw course into something that has been revamped with some elements that we have there. We will highlight that. But again, as much as we will highlight, as much as you will try to convey the different perspective, also give rooms for this to take place. I think it will take a while. The dynamic has been embedded for many years, or if not generations. So to change that in one day, I think it's a little bit too much, kan? So I think let's give some rooms, but I prefer to put it this way. Let's not, because I think I've heard this so much. Prove me wrong. That's the common language that we have said. We have here so much these days. I don't think we have to go into that directions. We don't have to prove anyone's wrong. We just have to be right together. So I think if we can be in that spirit, we'll be more sabar, inshallah. I've been there, doctor. I've been smashed in many ways, especially during the e-learning time. Okay, so blue and black everywhere. But if it's the right thing, it's worth doing. Yeah, inshallah.
Final comment from Abu Duktur.
Okay, thank you very well. First of all, really, I want to thank everyone, and Professor Raji in specific, for the patience that he gave to us here for those 2 days. But as this gentleman say right now, the war will just start it. And the real war will start when we go back
couldn't agree more.
to Kuliah of Engineering. This is why today I told our Baka, come and sit down here. This is why I bring her herself. I told her, don't tell me that you don't know. At the end of the day, if I cannot understand, me and Dr. Firdaus will say, I'm very sorry. They don't know. This is why I asked Deputy Dean Academic and our Baka to come and attend with us today this session. Because I do believe in engineering as well, that we are in dynamic movement. And I know this one, at the end of the day, this is the direction of the university. That means we like or we don't like, we have, first of all, we have to convince ourselves that this is the right way. This is the first point that I have in my mind now. This is why yesterday, by the way, the same session today we gave here, we implemented our kuliah, yesterday, by the way. because we have Ibadah camp, so I introduce in the middle because I'm involved. I'm the person who make everything for Ibadah camp, so I take this session today, I make it yesterday. And today I bring the baka here. Yeah, so as you know, to fill up the gap, whatever it is. Because at the end of the day, we have to do it. No way. Yeah, so I would like, as much as I can, to reduce the gap.
Really appreciate it. Really appreciate
especially nowadays, I repeated many times that we have newcomers. Those new stuff, especially for the College of Engineering, they come with different school, from different understanding, from different culture, from different ways. So when they come, they tell you, no, you are going to spoil engineering. No, how come you would like to Islamize control? How you are going to Islamize control? This one long time ago, I have it from senior. Now senior, some of them pass away, some of them leave university, some of them, anyway, by their way or others, they perish out. Now we have newcomers. Last time, newcomers, they accept whatever we give to them. Now newcomers start to be problem creator. How we are going to do that one? That one cannot be. You are going to spoil this. And they are very vocal. You know, now this TikTok generation, they are not easy. You cannot easily convince them. That's why, I hope that we can, this war, it never goes to third war. It ends up as first war, then we can solve it, can put the fire down. Else we are in trouble.
Jazakumullah khair. Thank you. Dr. Aznan, you want to add something just now?
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Maybe the last comment of the day. I think the problem when we limit ourselves to think about the mapping, the framework, because me, myself, and I assume that most of us, maybe the medical and science people, we are not so good in theory and framework and something like this. We need something is easy to assess, an outcome that easy to measure. We can see this one. So if we are going by the way to brief the stuff about the framework it has to be implemented, we will be limited or stop at the stage of maybe identify the sub-components in the course outline, these pillars of learning, the graduate attribute, and that's all. And for my understanding, the main objective of the SAF is beyond the word that can be incorporated in the course outline, so our documents should be okay. My practical maybe demands, maybe after this one, if we have, for example, in the PA, the pedagogy, for example, we want to see how this one will be affected by SAF. For example, do we plan any revision for the teaching framework to be applied for all staff? Teaching is very generic for all of us, and this element can be applied to everyone. So we need some practical steps, practical changes can be requested from the staff, and these later changes can be assessed, and we can see the changes. Maybe something related to what Dr. Amran yesterday mentioned about the impact. We want something to implement, to assess, to measure, and we can see. If we do like this, the same for action research. Action research, we can maybe customize, for example, some of the workshops for action research, focusing on best examples in every specialty. From this one, we can inculcate whatever needed, and we can relate this action research is maybe a part of the framework. But starting talking about the framework without any practical steps, without any operationalization for the process, I think this is a challenge. I think maybe this is a challenge when we talk about the stuff.
I have actually highlighted quite similar, thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad. I have highlighted quite similar points to Tan Sri actually last time. In one of the meeting I mentioned, which one should go first, Tan Sri? Should we teach the people how to do prayers, or should we teach the people how to internalize prayers? Those two are different things. Action is one thing, internalizing is one thing. Seems that now we are expecting both to happen on the same time. When both happens on the same time, it takes a while for people to adapt and to take things at a higher level without understanding the every moves. So because I'm trying to give the analogy that he can relate to. So I think the last sentence that I'm very glad that he can say it, especially after looking at a few course outline that that proposed to be endorsed in the Senate. He started to say it. So I really hope soon there will be the one that you mentioned just now, some practical guide. Okay, so it's a little bit more. It's not so much that it will be very strict to the level that the spirit of KCA, especially on empowerment, will be diluted. I don't think they would be able to do that, but at least it gives a much better understanding of the doing part, what to do. Because I think those are the big questions now. So where should we start? What to do? I think those are the common questions that even during the TNA, we've received that questions. Unfortunately, I haven't sit down with KCA, but soon, now that I have the ammunitions, the recordings, so I will sit down and then prove that yes, we need this really, really urgently, because curriculum review is on the way. So to leave this again another rounds and with a blunder, I think it will a waste of energy. We've spent here for 1.5 days. So inshallah, Dr. Muhammad. So I will keep all of you in touch as soon as we hear something when it comes to the request that you mentioned just now. Thank you so much.
Google Drive for all of us to share all those presentations.
All the presentations for the one that we have just.
What happened today and yesterday?
Oh, I say sure, yeah.
If you can keep
It in the Google Drive and share
Right.
with all of us, because we know at least we have something when we go back to our department.
Right. All the notes,
You know,
all the slides.
The notes and everything.
Yeah,
yes.
all the slides is in iTalim already. I've already uploaded. Okay. The videos Dr. Iza have already uploaded to iTalim. So all the videos for the previous asynchronous are there, and it will always stay accessible for you. Recording, I think we can put it in the Google Drive as soon as because it is actually manual recording, so we have to transfer this to proper disk, and then we put in Google Drive, inshallah. But yes, all this will be your ammunitions as well, inshallah. Okay, Dr. Azlan, yes.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'll try to be brief because they are already exit time. I just would like to ask for us, I think all of us here need 3 things. Number 1, a letter maybe from CPD or better still from Prof. Isarji's office to the kuliah.
Professor Isarji
or to the dean informing the kuliah that because we come here as the trainers, so meaning when we go back we are expected to train.
Yes.
So at least the kuliah knows that what is it that we are. I mean our role to be lah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we will do that.
Yeah,
inshallah.
and then number 2, basically a list of tasks. What is it that we need to do? You know, and more importantly, when do we start?
Absolutely.
Because I mean, you're mentioning about going to KCA and everything. So we anticipate it's not going to start immediately. So what might happen is at least we will be going back to the kuliah and we will be dormant for a while, waiting for the direction to come and the dean to call us and the deputy dean of academic to call us to be involved in the what we call the academic review process, as part of it. So I mean, doing the mapping and everything. Alhamdulillah, at KCT, we already did an attempt for the staff mapping in June on our own. I mean, not my initiative, but initiative of the kuliah. So some courses were selected. So based on the mapping that we did and then what we saw today, and the last thing that maybe we would like to, at least for me, is that to resend again the format of the course outline to the kuliah so that we know, because when I meet colleagues from other kuliah, I see various formats. So which one actually do we follow to incorporate the staff into the course outline?
Okay.
What is the actual format actually?
Yeah. That's a very good question.
Where's the table? How many columns and everything?
Absolutely. That is the point that Tan Sri actually highlighted. He wants to see the rationale. He wants to see the reasons. He wants to see the justifications. But that table alone actually kind of make it hard for us to relate, right? So I think later on, for me, what would be best for now, so that we don't lose the momentum, is actually to start looking at our own course first, so we can justify from the perspective of our own course first. Later on, forget about the format, but later on, once we have that, whatever format it is, it would be a lot easier, I think, once you understood it, once you can relate to all the elements that we have just now. I think whatever formats comes, I don't think that will be an issue, right? So, and it will also be easier for you to explain to your colleagues because you can relate to it, you've done it, and you can demonstrate how it is being done. So if we can go in that direction, so at least we will not lose the momentum. What I'm worried is that because it will take a while for such discussions to be conducted and for us to disseminate the information, I think it will take a while for sure. But by having that in your own course, I'm very sure we will not lose that momentum because you've done it yourself. Would it be possible?
Dr. Mira?
Yes, Dr.
I'm Doriana from ICON. Actually, tomorrow I was asked to brief my colleagues, HODs, on curriculum review. And they supplied me with materials like ACAR, MQA, course outline template approved by Senate, which should be implemented next semester. And in that course outline, we have SAF elements.
Yes.
So should we follow that or wait for the...
For now, just follow it for now. Yeah. I believe it is still in a lot of discussions to come up with the new format.
Whatever mentioned or suggested or proposed by the two groups just now, those other elements, should we consider?
Those elements are actually still relevant. It's just the format of the course outline that probably might change. I don't know. But there was a discussion in Senate. Some officers are not comfortable looking at the format. But the substance, the fundamental questions is that how can you justify? I think those are the thing that most of the deans miss during defending the course outline, especially why when Dr. Who was that? Oh, Doctor from Kuliah of Science, right? Defending about the plant just now, the learning to do, and the Dr. Sabrina highlighting about the learning to do, learning to know, and then on the other side the BIA social. So I think those kind of things, if you're able to translate, if you're able to defend it, I think it will be fine despite the format of the course outline. Those are the things that most of the deans weren't able to articulate, so it seems like it's just a convenience of fulfilling those boxes with certain elements. And
so we need to, I need to explain whatever we have discussed.
It will be nice, on the SAF, on the SDG.
Like our brother said just now, I don't know, should I follow our group's proposal? Like how to explain that to the kuliah?
Oh, okay. Dr. Yusuf, just now, on the simplified versions.
I would say he's very quite familiar. He is quite familiar. I think he can teach the entire one. Quite familiar.
Okay. Honestly, it's biased, if I say from my side. What matters the most, looking at the many conversations, is the values, not so much of the framework per se. So, because I'm trying to understand the big picture. The big picture is all of us should have that concern. By the time the students finish the university, they should have that characters of exactly like what Dr. Yusuf mentioned just now. They have been trained by Murabbi. But if they finish and they practically are not aware of the values that we are trying to embed, then we will not. Then although we've implemented it from end to end, the box all filled, but we don't fulfill our missions. So I think Dr. Doriana, if I can suggest, engage them, try to convince on the values first. I'm very sure those are the issues that we have at the moment, or making sure that the staff can able to articulate the values of the course from that many dimensions. If you feel that you can do that, despite whichever ways, the simplified versions of SAF, the complicated versions of SAF, it's up to you. I would suggest that would be the best way for now, if that is possible at all. Sorry? No attacks of?
No attacks of question that I cannot answer.
Okay, another thing that we need in every kind of change is support system, right? So the support system, if you have any questions that you are not able to provide, channel it to us, and we will direct to Prof. Sarji, we will direct to the relevant instructors, or we will direct to KCA if they able to answer that. Yes, so have that support system. You should know that you are not alone. You are not fighting alone. Yes, Dr. Aslam, you're not fighting alone. Yeah, at least you got one reward already, right? Yes, Dr. Jana.
I suggest that we have a group, an email list or a WhatsApp comprising of all of us, and we can support each other.
Inshallah. We will. Dr. Iza, can we arrange that? Group WhatsApp for all the IOHK team? Yep, all right, thank you. Alhamdulillah, she already gave a thumbs up, so it's doable, inshallah. Thank you so much, Jazakumullah khair. So, from CPD, if I can conclude, I would like to thank everyone, mashallah, these 2 days. I'm sorry I wasn't able to join yesterday afternoon because we have another meetings with certain officers. But alhamdulillah, I heard the update, especially from Dr. Zainal, on how excited the session was yesterday. When I said excited, yeah. How excited was the session yesterday. So I'm truly thankful for making it excited. I think that is something. When I heard that term is excited with double quotes, I'm truly excited. Seriously, that's what I want from every sessions. That's what we want from every sessions, that everybody engage. You own the sessions. You feel that you are part of the session. So I'm really thankful that it happens yesterday and it happens today. Thank you so much. And we really hope that, as I said earlier, this would be the support system for all the team. Inshallah, we will start from this family, and then we will fight with the bigger war or side together, inshallah. And I will share all the materials, and may Allah ease your undertakings, especially for those of you who will be traveling back to Kuantan. 1.5 days is a long day, I know, but hopefully that those times that you are spending with us, Allah gives the reward and give the barakah with much greater rewards for you and family, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair wa barakallahu fikum jami'an, inshallah. Thank you so much, everyone. And the lunch is there. Assalamualaikum. Oh, there's an announcement from Centris, yes.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. I'll just take a short while. Just to again reiterate what Dr. Prof. Mira has mentioned. I am very grateful that you are here spending time with us, and inshallah I say amin to her dua just now, and I don't have to repeat, but some of you are not going home empty-handed. If you know that we have published Natural Science from the Worldview of the Quran 2 years ago, and we have expanded the project. The first 1,000 copies were sold out. The first 1,000 sets were sold out within 10 months. And then after some time, we have IIUM endowment project, printing another 1,000 copies. You can purchase from IIUM endowment. And thirdly, we have also engaged with Bank Rakyat, who has sponsored another 1,000 sets, and we were instructed, and we have KIV'd for ourselves 300 sets, for which we are distributing as requested by Bank Rakyat free of charge. All right, so I have here a list of the distribution, and I know you are representing your kuliahs, your department, right? For the ones from Gombak, I would request, we will send letters to your deans. I would request that the representative would come to Centris and pick up the books. But for those from outside of Gombak, Kuantan, Gambang, if you could, we have the books ready for you to bring back today. All right? So let me just announce to you, for the kuliahs that are not in Gombak, Kuliah of Science, we have 6 sets for you, for biotechnology, computational, theoretical sciences, physics, chemistry, marine science, and plant science departments. 1 for each department and 1 for the dean. Kuliah of Medicine, we have 1 for each department as well. don't know whether I have all the departments here, but 15 departments, we have the list, and the dean of the kuliah also has this list. So 15 copies, one copy each for the department and one set for the dean. Kuliah of Allied Health Sciences, we have 6 for the departments as well as for the dean, and Kuliah of Dentistry 7 plus for the dean. Kuliah Pharmacy 4 sets plus the dean. Kuliah of Nursing 5 sets plus the dean. CFS, anybody from CFS? Yes, we have 10 sets for Department of Dentistry, Nursing, Allied Health Sciences, Medicine, Pharmacy, ICT, Physical Sciences, Biological Sciences, Engineering, and IRK, plus for the dean. So you are welcome to Centris after lunch, and we will give you these books. We will help you put them in your car or your buses or your vans. All right? Thank you very much. I hope you all would benefit from this book. This project took us 7 years, took a lot of sweat and tears. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, and your journey would be safe, and then we would have our jihad when we get back to our departments and kuliyas. And with the good intention, with good ways of communication, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help, insyaAllah. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So thank you very much, Dr. Jannah. And also on behalf of CPD, on behalf of CPD, I really truly sorry if there's anything that we could not serve you well, or if there's any weaknesses in our way to serve you. So I really hope, especially for those who come all the way from Kuantan and Pagoh, I hope you have a good accommodations here. Sorry if it's not up to the standard due to some hotels have been shut down, but inshallah, hopefully soon after the pandemic, new hotels, and then we can offer a better accommodations, inshallah. So jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much, everyone. Barakallahu fikum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Please have the lunch at the back.
I